Well, we're here just about, and look, just need to catch my breath. But good evening, everyone. Welcome to round 7, the halfway stage of FPRL Season 10, and the countdown now to F125. Nothing's been announced yet, but this game is reaching the end of its cycle, thank goodness. Let's just say it's not been great. But what we promised tonight is 35 laps, plus a couple more, because it is our sprint race, the first of 2 sprint races this season. So, more points on offer, more chance to close up the standings, and more chance to take a step forward to being Season 10 champion. I'm Cruise Rating 72, as you know me on a Monday. And I think you know this other voice by now in the commentary box. It's everyone's favourite primate, it's Monkey Boy Kurt.
Good evening, everyone. How are we all? Thank you, Cruiser. Hopefully, we're going to be in for another good couple of races tonight. There's only once out of 2 times I'm going to be saying that this season. Obviously, first sprint week of the season. We've also got a coming up a bit later on in the second half. But yeah, it should be hopefully interesting to see who can perform well both in the sprint and the feature. And it might also be interesting to see, particularly in this sprint quali session, what tyres some of the drivers are going to go out on, because we know that some of them might opt for a set of mediums to do their sprint quali laps on. Some might opt for a set of softs to get them a bit further up the grid for the sprint race. But it's sure to be interesting. Obviously, only 12 minutes of quali for sprint quali, so the drivers are probably going to get maybe a couple of runs, maybe 3 runs if they're quick about it. But yeah, should definitely be some quick fire action, and definitely looking forward to it. Leonardo, the first person on a lap in the Kick-Sauber.
That he is, and of course the Hungaroring, a track which has had its fair share of moments in recent memory, but also notoriously difficult to overtake. Really, your only real chance is in towards turn 1, and if you're feeling brave enough, into the chicane of around turn 6 and turn 7. That's really it for overtaking spots on this track, and if you are super brave, or rather bold, for one word for it, you can throw up the inside at turn 5. I don't think we've seen too much of that throughout the evening, but you never know. In Tier 3 they always like to throw up a surprise. And Leonardo in the Sauber takes it quite nicely in towards Sector 2. Obviously you see a set of soft tyres on the Sauber, and one thing about this track, tyre wear is horrible. Cannot emphasise that enough. So whatever you see of the soft tyres, you'll get 1 lap out of them. No more, no less. Because, as I say, the tyre wear around here is notoriously bad. So expect the race to be at least a 1 stop from hards to mediums, or mediums to hards. The softs, unless it's like 2 laps from the end, you won't see them at all. But what Leonardo will see is him at the top of the standings on a 15.5. Next up is going to be one of the Mercedes. That'll be our drummers to start their run. Let's jump down to Hirsch. Had a remarkable performance around Silverstone. Just couldn't quite back up though around Spa. What can you do now? It's a 16.2, followed over the line by one of the Hasses. That looks like it's going to be Wizard of Oz. No, Major Allen actually. That was, and GSY 15.3 on the medium tyres, which is quite rare, especially in this game. And of course, a few years ago, the tyre, what was it? The qualifying tyre changes that whatever you set your fastest lap on in Q2 had to be your starting tyre for the race. So, very rare we see a set of mediums on top, and now Wizard of Oz and a 14.7. So, yep, seems like we see the benchmark forming, as there's Josh standing in at McLaren on a 15.0, Godfather on a 15.5. Where's Button? There he is, there in the final corner. Bit of the overtake, bit of DRS instead of put him up to P5 and a 15.5, also just behind Leonardo. But remember, Leo did set that lap on a set of softs.
Yeah, what a great lap that is from Wizard of Oz on the medium tyres as well. He's currently over 3 tenths clear of Josh in second on the softs. It just shows how much speed, how much pace he's got to find if he even puts a set of softs on around here. We've always seen this with Wizard of Oz. He's always been a quick driver over 1 lap. It's all about doing it in the races though, and to say that Godfather just getting in the way of the Red Bull, I think there. of the Red Bull of Reese's Pieces, who looks like he was going for another run. I don't know if that has impeded him. I think it has, as he's now turned his battery down to medium again, and he is now 5 temps down. So I don't think he'll be too happy with that. As I said, we've got a few more drivers coming around now. One of them being FPRL Locker as he comes around now with hot lap towards the line. P9, it puts him a 16.0 on the mediums. I'm wondering if we're going to see a few of these guys on the mediums that are a bit further down opt for a set of softs for their final run of the session. Obviously, like I say, only 12 minutes in the session, so only 6 minutes now left to go. So the end of this session is getting quicker, getting closer as we speak. So let's just have a look at a few other drivers that are going around. Gummers is one on the soft tyres. The other Mercedes, FPR Locker's teammate, coming around now the final corner. Samuel's just gone through into 4th place. But here comes Gummers. What can he produce on those softs? It's only a 16.1 on a set of softs, so he will be definitely wanting to get in and get another set on. The Flow starting his lap, and someone we've also got to watch out for, P2 now in the championship, is Jan Disputed. We know how much pace he has over one lap. We'll ride on board with him just for the remainder of his lap as we now come through sector 2, and we know how twisty the Hungary ring is. Probably one of the circuits where you can't overtake hardly at all. I think probably the circuit after Monaco that you normally see the least overtakes, but it's going to 53.5 through sector 2, and that's now where we approach sector 3. Coming round now the left hand hairpin before we need to just watch the back end as you get on the acceleration now to the final corner. This right hander, round we go, hot lap to the line, and what's it going to be for Jonas Speed? Looking quick, and it puts him up to P3. And that's P3 on a set of mediums as well. So good lap there from Jay. He's got 4 minutes to get round and get in for one final run.
And hoping for one more run will be FCR Butterfly, who need an invite to the lobby. Obviously, they don't know that the races start at 8 o'clock. And actually a bit later tonight, because a certain member of the comms team forgot to update the console and only found out about it about 10 minutes before we were due live. Take a wild guess who that is, because it certainly wasn't my Colcom's partner. Locker up in 8th. I think he'll be happy with that as the session rolls on, but Reese's Pieces, he will not be happy with 11th. Thankfully for him, it's just a sprint race where only 8 points go to the winner and not the usual potential 26, but 25 for the Red Bull. And on that note, I'm going to quickly, as professional as I try to be, I'm going to look at the standings. My multi-boy chart still tends to Butterfly's invite. Reese's Pieces, ironically, leading the way. But I said 8 points over G Undisputed and Sheriff Woody, 17 points covering the top 3. But Sid Sandwich not too far behind, along with Button. Godfather picking up that victory at Silverstone is in 6th on 47. David Lawface on 43. Then we've got Locker, Wizard of Oz, and R. Drummers 10th in the standings on 15. So there's a few wide spreads among the field, but also quite closely contested battles. 3 minutes left to go. Pardon me. And there's Reese's Pieces getting carted into the pits. Butterfly will get one run in before the end. Who looks out of place right now? Obviously, barring Reese's Pieces. David's a bit down there on a 16.1. Oh, that's a bit rude there. From GSY, standing in tonight for Speedy B. Godfather is on a run on a new set of mediums, so we'll see what he can do through sector 2. And what I find really around turn 8 and turn 9, especially turn 9, you just get so much understeer, but I don't know if that's just me being bad, probably is. But there is a huge amount of understeer just because of how much you are pushing the tyres around here. Just the temperature of the tyres, how much wear you put on the tyres, it is a real killer to try and keep consistent and manage your tyres, which we'll worry about in the race. But right now it is nothing but overtake and Godspeed Godfather to the line. He doesn't improve from 9th, and if I were him, I'd get that battery charged and just hope they've got a bit more tread for one more run. As I've actually been made known, courtesy of someone else, that Butterfly is actually due to have a race ban for some reason.
Oh.
As professional as I am.
I did think that, and then you said to invite him.
I will say the steward's report doesn't specify. I will say that.
Okay, well, if we can just double check that, we'll just go
From
on to.
our steward's report around Belgium last time out, it hasn't updated and specified they've got a race ban. Granted, I should have kept an eye on that, but also it doesn't help that I was blinded. So take that up with whoever you want, divert it to the nearest wall because I'm not hearing as much of it as possible. I'm deflecting it to Nigel Piddle. You're welcome. Anyway, a minute 15 to go. We'll worry about that. We'll worry about that later on. Might even need to be a quality restart, honestly, which is a fantastic way to start the evening. Or if even worse comes to worse, Butterflies just serves that race ban around Baku. And that will be set in stone. Anyway, as we get set for the final runs, Wizard of Oz still leads the way in that 14.7, JSY in a 14.9, G Undisputed now up to third with Josh, the highest placed runner so far on a set of mediums. Then we've got Sheriff Woody, Sid, Leonardo just starting his run now with Button in 8th. Out of place a little bit there as the Alpine, but will have that final push to get higher up the Dreadlocker. Godfather and crucially Reese's Pieces still down now in 12th place as our Gummers has improved now up to 11th. Won't be too happy with that though, but that is about mid-table, so you will take it. And what Aviation will take is a 14.6, and that is advantage Red Bull over Wizard of Oz, who just seems to have the qualifying pace. It doesn't quite go right though in the races, judging by how low he is in the standings, but G Undisputed, an open door for him, just to take a little chip out of Reese's Pieces' rather slender lead in the standings, to be honest. Still down in 12th there's Reese's Pieces, and he's going to head up towards the end of Sector 2. G Undisputed is on his run. Sid Sandwich goes up to 4th, that is good there for the RB team. Josh is down in their time. Sheriff Woody around the final hairpin is going to be the first one to complete their run. It's not going to be much better, and it's going to be considerably worse for Sheriff Woody. That is 6th place for them. Next up is a Red Bull of Reese's Pieces, and he needed that lap to go third ahead of G Undisputed. Leonardo does not improve. Next up is going to be David Lawface, who goes up to 7th. Good effort too for the Alpine. From one to another, Button heading up towards the final chicane, keeping an eye still on G Undisputed and Wizard of Oz, who I think is just ahead of that Alpine. Is actually just behind the Alpine. Button is just behind Wizard of Oz though on a 15.0. Didn't quite break through. Wizard of Oz, oh my goodness, 113.976. And just for context, before Jay improves his lap, that is 1 second faster than Jay, who is now fighting for second place and gets said second place. 0.6 of a second over the pack.
That's
about damn time, I say.
Absolutely mental lap. Probably, I think the tier 2s are gonna be challenged to beat that on Wednesday, because that is sometime in the 13s. We might see some improvements from the guys later on in the main quali. Obviously, after the sprint race, we might get a bit close to the 13s. But if that's anything to go by, that's a ridiculous lap there from the Haas. That's 5 tenths quicker than P2 and a second quicker than P5. And if he's got anything like that kind of pace in the sprint race, he's just going to run away with it. So it'll be interesting if he can really gain that second gap of DRS within the first 2 laps, because he will literally walk away with this race if he has anything like that in the laps to come in a second. But just looking down the grid, and FPRL Locker in the top 8, as well as David Lowface in 9th in the top 10. Anyone out of place there? I think Hirsch, obviously a bit disappointing for him. And also the flow, I think he was going around the final or second to last corner and lost the rear end. So I think he could have been a bit further up, but he will start further down the grid. And now we look forward to the sprint race, which I believe is going to be around 12 laps long, if I'm not mistaken.
And I don't think you are. 12 lap sprint around this track, and if anything, I think we use a set of hards for this sprint race, because I say it once, I say it again, the tyre wear is horrible. And if you want to know just how bad the tyre wear is, race this track for yourself, or you can join FPRL to find out. Granted, you might not quite race the Hungaroring this week, but we still have another 7 races lined up for the remainder of Season 10. To join FPRL, Join our Discord server and complete sign-up steps. Get yourself in for the second half of Season 10 and through our social media, twitch.tv/FP Racing League, the go-to source for all of our live streams and interactions, where we stream Monday, Wednesday and Friday, 8 PM UK time. And tonight the Tier 3, Wednesday Tier 2, and Friday nights are Tier 1 nights. Don't miss a thing, because the championships are starting to get a little bit fiery and feisty now as we reach the halfway stage. And with still tonight's sprint race and another one later on in the season, still all to play for as we head off to the end game, so to say, the last stand at the end of our 14 race calendar. But after that, a quick plug for our social medias. Monkey Boy Kurt, what do you want to talk about?
We'll talk about the fact that we haven't received any drink redemptions yet in the chat, because I've got a nice big bottle of Madry here that needs drinking. So why have we not had any come in? It's a bit disappointing, I'm not going to lie. Secondly, obviously looking forward to the start of the season next week. And there we go. Major Allen has got one in. What an absolute legend. And is Sid Sandwich going to get one in as well? Say no more. I'm hoping he is. Because I do need to get through this drink. But yeah, no, looking forward to the start of the real season, obviously. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to be at the front. I really don't know, to be honest. A lot of people say McLaren are going to be up there again, obviously dominating. But I think potentially any one of the top 4 teams really could pose a big threat when it come Friday and Saturday. Obviously Friday practice a little bit, but obviously Saturday qualifying, and we'll get the first glimpses of who's going to be up there for the season. But yeah, interested to get started on the real thing at the weekend cruiser.
Yeah, and it's going to be an insomniac run for me on Sunday, because the Grand Prix at like 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, and then the Old Firm Derby, Celtic versus Rangers at 12 o'clock. Oh, Sunday's going to be a long day. And just
yeah, that does sound fun. Well, it'd be funner if you win, obviously.
I'm just looking through the chat. Sid hoping it's Leclerc's year. I do too. I just want to be in the title fight beyond 8 races, especially after 2022. Still stings. It still stings, because even though you don't say you're a Ferrari fan, we are all a Ferrari fan. What else? Obviously, Hamilton's went to Ferrari. That's been a well-known secret for about 18 months. I genuinely don't know what to expect for this season. I genuinely don't know, because McLaren can rock up with a soapbox. Red Bull can turn up with a tractor. Ferrari can turn up with something terrible. Sauber can turn up with a rocket ship. Who knows? JSY saying it's Bortoletto's year. I think the goal for Bortoletto is just to stay close to Hulkenberg, as he seems to have a formation lap. Good.
Oh.
We have more time to talk. That's how it's gonna go. We've got more time to chat and let the grid filter in position.
Yeah, bit of an odd one. Obviously, we've done this for 9 seasons of FPRL, but the 10th season this season, we've decided to turn that off. So someone has, shall we say, cocked it up, and we've had 3 people disqualified. Now, this is what we mean here, because this is obviously going to put Leonardo Argamas and the Flow at a disadvantage. Now they're going to have cold tyres at the start of the race. One of the reasons why we got rid of that. Obviously, the other reason is just it is just quicker to go straight when we are ready, rather than doing a formation lap. And especially tonight, obviously we're doing a sprint race as well. So this could go on very, very long. We might even make this past 10 o'clock tonight, Cruiser, especially if we've got a restart.
Well, we might have a restart. Otherwise, in the case of one Ferrari, they will just serve it next week, which I think is going to be the way to go, because I don't want this to be 2 hours, especially given some folk have work in the morning and others have priorities to attend to. Anyway, almost done with the formation laps, so there we go. We've yapped that much and complained about it. It's nearly over. Sounds about right with life. You just bitch and moan and everything is forgotten. Anyway, through the dreads, let's have a look. The Floden in 15th, Godfather in 12th, a bit out of place. David in 9th with Lot. I swear, David and Lotter have found some way to share the same bit of track for the last like 3 or 4 races, at least at one stage. Sid needs to try and just keep up with the field. And for Jay Undisputed, if the race ends like this, that's 2 points gained. For Reese's Pieces, he's just hoping that JSY plays nice at the start of this race. We'll jump on board though with the Wizard of Oz and just see from his perspective the drop towards turn 1 and the long wait for the lights. And we're underway for the first time tonight at the Hungaroring. Wizard of Oz gets an okay start, but JSY has the best of the lot, already jumping ahead of Jay Undisputed, and for Reese's Pieces already too ahead of that RB. Is now down the inside, has a slight collision there with JSY. Rainbow has somehow got a corner cutting penalty. Jay's getting all swirly and all out of place there too, and Rainbow just had 10 seconds for Summer. He said Sandwich, he was up in 6th, which is interesting, but Rainbow up to 11th place, that might explain that. Cracking start from them as they start to dwindle down the order to suspect front wing damage for the Williams. As up to the top of turn 5, Wizard of Oz, Reese's Pieces, Button up to 3rd from 5th place. JSY goes down to 4th. Josh going over the Sausage Club, don't do that too often. G now 6th, Sheriff Woody 7th, R. Drummond, Sid Sandwich and Butterfly, who's up to 10th. Granted, if this were the main race, he'd be happy, but the sprint race, he need to get up to 8th.
Yeah, that was a bit of a hectic first corner. Williams flying into turn 1 almost reminded me of a bit like Bottas the other year when he took out both the Red Bulls, and obviously that race ended with Esteban Ocon getting his first race victory. But yeah, not the best first lap of this sprint race around the Hungaroring, and Major Allen trying to make some places up there, but he's just pushed out wide a little bit by Butterfly. But yeah, Wizard of Oz has obviously still got the lead. Reese's Pieces up 2 places to 2nd and Button up 2 places to 3rd. Jay Undisputed not had a great start at all, down to 6th obviously, and other losers out there, David Loveface, FPRL, Lockhart and Leonardo, all down 6, 8 and 6 places respectively. Rainbow was in the pits, and whether or not he's going to retire or just get a new wing on, I'm not too sure. But Wizard of Oz looking like he's keeping that pace from pot fight. He's already around a second ahead of Reese's Pieces. If he can just gain a few more attempts, he should be safe of that DRS barrier. And what they'll be hoping is the likes of Reese, Button, Aviation and Josh behind him start fighting. As Josh getting really close on the rear of Aviation. JSY, there's a bit of a gap now forming between him and Jay. Obviously Jay, one of the 2 drivers that has decided to go on the hard tyres. That's probably why he's not feeling the full speed of this track at the moment on those tyres, but they might come into a bit more performance in a few laps. The same with his teammate as well. Both the RBs decided to go onto the hard tyres, the only ones in the whole pack. And the Wizard of Oz sits another fastest lap of a 16.3 and is now 1.5 seconds ahead. So really storming away at the front. And yeah, it looks like now, certainly down from 2nd to 8th, we've got a little DRS train. And then we start again with Sid Sandwich, who's got a second either way between them. Then we've got Butterfly with another DRS train behind that. So probably going to see some moves happening now. Here goes the Godfather, and he goes down the inside of Butterfly there into 10th place. But as you said, Cruz, it needs to be 8th in the sprint race to gain the points.
As little as these points are in the sprint race, they mean so much in the end of the season, because all it takes is one more point in your rivals to win the championship. So Will Buxton there. Anyway, lap 3. Wizard of Oz has checked out 1.8 seconds over Reese's Pieces, who will be very content with 2nd place. And again, if my numbers are correct, that's going to be a 4-point swing in favour of the Red Bull, take his tally to 12 ahead of the RB. And I make that about 22 ahead of Sheriff Woody, who's still behind Jay. And that's a battle we should keep an eye on too. Jay and Sheriff Woody aren't that far behind each other in the championship. 9 points separate these two. And 17 of course covering the top 3 like we mentioned. Starting lap 4, Wizard of Oz 2 seconds clear, and Jay Undisputed has had enough of that McLaren. He wants to get past him, but Josh isn't making it easy, and point made again. It is a very tough track to overtake. You need so much overspeed, so much more battery, just everything needs to be like you strap a rocket to the back of your car just to have a chance at an overtake. Or in the later on in the evening, you will see making the pit stop ahead of your rivals just to try and get as much of an advantage as you can. So expect undercuts aplenty for later on, as JSY almost pushing Button up towards the chicane of turn 6 and turn 7, just about gets it stopped in time, does the Red Bull. One is on that podium, but Reese's Pieces just doing his own, just running his own race. 2.2 now behind Wizard of Oz, who is out for a point to prove tonight and is looking to take the first of what he hopes to be 2 victories tonight, and especially after that qualifying pace. He wants it all, as JSY wants that 3rd place, but Button resilient again, not letting him through easily, and just once again illustrates how tough it is to overtake around this track.
Yeah, definitely. Some good hard racing there. Obviously, wheel-to-wheel action, and maybe Aviation JSY will try and have a go at Button here. He's not using too much of the battery, though. But the thing is, obviously, Reese's Pieces doesn't have that DRS advantage, and Button really also get into the close of this Red Bull sandwich. He's got one really close in front of him and one really close behind him, so we want to know how quick he can be in quali. Button, he'll want to be doing it more often in the races, definitely for sure. But looks like JSY is still all over the back of him, and he really just can't seem to make the move stick. And I think that's Button trying to get some battery back on none through the first part of sector 2 there. But yeah, the grip at the front now. Well, Rainbow's retired in the pits. Gummers has got a 3-second penalty, the first one of this race. Down in 8th, so he will now drop out of the points places, as Sid Salmon's 2.5 seconds behind. He will take that 8th place as it stands. We've still got another 6 laps to go after this lap has been completed. Yeah, Reese's Pieces is looking quite like he's always gone a bit wide there at the second to last corner, and Button only 5 tenths behind now. Will he have enough speed? Will he have enough battery down the main straight to make a move? He's on the overtake. He's on the DRS, and surely now he's going to go and make a move on the Red Bull. The Red Bull also using overtake to try and defend. Covers the inside line, Button has to go to the outside, and on the brakes tries to make the move stick, but Reese's Pieces is fighting back. There's a bit of contact there, and that allows the other Red Bull of Aviation to go through into 3rd position, and Button was in that Red Bull sandwich, wanting to get ahead of it. He's now behind it. He's got Josh all over the back of him now for good measure. And I think there's a little crash back, a little spin maybe for Leonardo. He's dropped off the back of Major Allen and FPRL knocker. But yeah, some good rates in there. Unfortunately for Button, it didn't work out for him. He's lost a place now.
You feel a little bit hard done by though, Will Button, especially given that Reese's Pieces was a little bit aggressive in that defence, as JSY gets a massive snap. And what you're seeing there too is that the tyre temps is really starting to suffer as well for everyone. Jay's getting a little bit slidey as well. Josh suffering as well, going wide a couple of times. Button starting to suffer with it too, as is Josh looking down the inside of the Alpine. His teammate David Lawface down in 14th after a horrific turn 1. Doesn't seem like he'll recover too much unless there is a miracle later on. As Wizard of Oz 4 seconds now ahead of this fight for 2nd place, which seems to be the common theme this evening, as JSY is going to make the move on Reese's Pieces, maybe try and help his teammate along, but as for now, I don't understand why you do that, especially given from a championship perspective. But then again, JSY's got nothing to prove. He is, of course, filling in for Speedy B tonight, so there's no such thing as the team orders here, I'd say. It's just more do what you can and hope for a full-time drive, as Jay Undisputed in that lecture for JSY has got ahead of Josh, and that is crucial for him, especially given now it's now going to be a 2-point swing in favour of Reese's Pieces, when at one stage it was 4, but still it's going to be 10 points between these two. Sheriff Woody looks set to finish 7th as Button has now dropped out of range of Reese's Pieces, and R-Dummers, and Josh goes dangerously right there. He has a collision there with Sheriff Woody, and he's going to let the Sauber through. Yes, he's thinking about it. He's thought about it. He's not going too easily, is Josh. Still going side by side as Jay Undisputed has got ahead of Button in towards turn 10. He just caught it there. And Sheriff Woody finally gets ahead of Josh, who's had a terrible lap from 4th down to 8th, and is now under pressure from what was Sid Sandwich, but he's lost it in towards the first hairpin, and that's now the flow in contention for points too, as, oh dear, it's all went on now between Butterfly and Godfather, as that's what happens there if you bang wheels. And Reese's Pieces gets back ahead of JSY, and that points aggregate now is back to 2.
Yeah, not ideal there. Major Allen has also got no wing. He's into the box. Godfather has retired. Will not be happy with what happened there between himself and Butterfly. Butterfly carries on in P14. Josh now with a 3-second penalty, and there is Major Allen also retiring from the sprint race. We've got 4.5 laps
Oh,
to
Button's
go,
gone!
and Button was literally about to come onto him. Felt like he was really struggling in this race, especially after he tried to get past Reese's Pieces and then didn't have, obviously, that didn't make that move, and then it was almost like he just sort of fell off a little bit. But now Button, yeah, made a big mistake there. He's now out of the race. We're down to 14 drivers in this sprint now, as Wizard of Oz comes up to the end of a lap 8 to start lap 9 with a 5.3 second lead. There is literally nothing stopping this Haas around this track, and if he can do this in the main quali and the main race, he's definitely going to be taking both victories. Just got to make sure he keeps it on track, doesn't get any silly penalties. And the two Red Bulls still fighting away. Reese's Pieces in second, Aviation third. But those tyres now, as hard tyres for Jan Disputed, coming into good effect now at lap 9 of 12. And he's all over the back of these two Red Bulls now. He's trying to push the Aviation's airsway around the circuit. And look for the opportunity. David Lawford, unfortunately, with the 3-second penalty, but he is down 11th, so it won't matter too much in terms of points. But looking at the big gainers, just once again in this sprint race, we can see that the flow has actually come up to P7, and at the moment it looks like he will be taking P6 as Argamaz has got that 3-second penalty, so he will go up another position as it stands. He's had a good race. It looks like now the real battle is to see who gets on these podium places. Is it going to be White? Is it going to be Jan Disputed? If it carries on like this, I think Jan Disputed could potentially have taken it, and there he goes, just past. He makes a mistake there, does JSY, and through goes the RB of Jan Disputed. Now his sights are on the championship leader, his championship rival, we'll say, of Reese's Pieces, who's now in P2. Can Jay come up and go a P2 from all this?
Well, that's his objective, and that's what he wants to do. Meanwhile, Sheriff Woody, as it is guaranteed 5th, but he wants to get ahead of Ardummers just for security and to have that buffer between himself and the flow. Down the inside at turn 1, starting to really suffer here, these medium tyre runners, as now getting the DRS back in towards turn 3. The Mercedes defence to the inside, and Sheriff Woody clean around the outside, just gives a little rub of the tyres there. Says, good fight Ardummers, but I win. Up to 5th place now is the Sauber, and as well in context of that championship too, he's only losing 3 points here to Reese's Pieces, and really, for Sheriff Woody's sake, he would prefer if Jay finished ahead of Reese's Pieces. That way it's only 20, I say only 20 points between the top 3 in the standings. But 5th place for Sheriff Woody, considering he started 10th, he'll take that after the trials of that midfield battle. Meanwhile, Jay Undisputed is looking the much better of the two here between himself and Reese's Pieces in terms of how good your tyre were, because those hards are definitely working now for the RB. But is it just a little bit too late, or has Reese's Pieces just took too much life out of his tyres too soon when he needs it the most? 7 seconds now between himself and Wizard of Oz in the lead, but this is where the main fight is for second. Jay Undisputed has got the battery, he's got the DRS, he's got the outside line in towards turn 1. Jay Undisputed is ahead of Reese's Pieces. Now, can he break away just enough to keep that second place? And that is only 1 point gained, but it could be a priceless point.
Yeah, Arcon is retired from the session, and I don't know if you catch that cruiser, but on the run up to the hill here where we see Reese's Pieces and JSY right now, the fly went down the outside, and really there's contact made, and it spun our gummers round, and I think he'd be a little disappointed with that. Yes, he had the 3-second penalty, but I think he would have probably held on to a couple of points potentially. But unfortunately for him, it's not going to be his day today. Well, it's not going to be his sprint race anyway. He's still got the main race to come. But at Reese's Pieces, you can see now how much the mediums have gone off compared to the hards. And Jay Undisputed now 1.2 seconds ahead as we enter the final lap now. Just about to come around is the Wizard of Oz to start lap 12. The final lap of this sprint race. He's had an easy race, it has to be said. 6.5 seconds in the lead, and that's definitely going to be his race one, unless he has anything stupid on the final lap. I don't think that's going to be the case. But yeah, Jay undisputed now 1.4 seconds ahead of Reese's Pieces. And the hard tyre definitely came back into his favour, and he is going to pick up a P2. But we were trying to go one better in the main race. We look down the field as we just approach the end of this sprint race. See where Josh is going to finish up. I think he will slot into P7, but he doesn't want to lose it there as Sheriff Woody goes through on him. And Sid Sandwich will take the 7th place off him, so the 6th place off him. The flow really dropped back since he's had that collision with our Gummers, and Hirsch just going to miss out on some points in this sprint race, unfortunately for him. But now we head to Wizard of Oz, who's coming around the final few corners now to take victory in this sprint race. It's been an easy race for the Haas.
I think easy is very much an understatement for Wizard of Oz. Done his job at turn 1, getting the lead and stamping away ever since. He's been unnoticed in the race, he's been untouchable in the sprint race. But the first race of the evening, it's going to do the way of the Haas like it did around Belgium, but this time keeping the 0, and he's going to keep that first place. Wizard of Oz wins the sprint, and the main event to follow puts himself as a very, very high odds-on favourite to win this. G Undisputed, it's a point gained on Reese's Pieces, not a couple of points, but that is the first time Jay has got the better of him in a few rounds. He'll be happy with that. Reese's Pieces will take third with JSY very much rear gunner, a 10th and a half behind his teammate in 4th. Sheriff Woody from 10th to 5th, he'll take that. Sid Sandwich, Josh after his penalty takes 7th, and the flow from 15th to 8th will take a sole point for the Aston Martin team. And that's your starter. Now time for the main course, a 36 lap race around the Hungaroring, as the game is Dave driver of the day to the flow for a sprint race. But 36 laps, and we've seen the tyre wear. Just an idea, the mediums were burnt out after about 8. We might just see some 2-stop races here, but that is mental how poor the tyre wear is. And Reese's Piece is saying it in a Twitch chat. The tyre wear was like ice, with a couple of selective words, so to say, as to how bad and shocking it was. But I suppose good knowledge for us when our races arrive on Keyboy Kart. And for Wizard of Oz, a bit late of a title challenge maybe. That's his second time in two events that he's took the checkered flag in first place.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I mean, like you say, the tyre wear though around here, they definitely saw the hards drop off. The mediums drop off near the end of that race, and the hards definitely the better tyre come the end. So what are we going to see in this race? Surely it's going to be mediums to hards. No way we're going to see any soft runners unless we have a late safety car around here. I wouldn't have thought. But and the question is, do we start on hards and do the long stint first, or do we go on mediums? But obviously, first of all, we've got another quali session to get underway, and now 18 minutes of quali, a bit longer for these drivers to maybe have definitely 3 runs in this session. Will we see anyone get in the 13s again? We saw Wizard of Oz do it in style in the sprint qualifying. Obviously, pole there by almost 6 tenths, but now we've had a bit more experience around the track. Obviously, 12 laps of racing. Will we see any other of the guys get any times close to the 13s? I think we might see a couple, to be fair.
I think really, if you want to have a shot at pole position, you need to look to the 113s. Either that, or that was the lap of from heaven for Wizard of Oz. As we get ready for our main qualifying, of course the rules change for a sprint race. It's no longer sprint race results determine the full grid. It is two different events, so to say. So we have our sprint race and sprint qualifying. We have our main qualifying and our main race to follow in about 20 odd minutes time. So, as we were, and I think this time knowing roughly the pace of the field, Sid Sandwich and G Undisputed equally saying that they had a terrible start and it cost them a bit in the race. We did see too as well that G Undisputed was catching Wizard of Oz, but he just ran out of time. I think, say he ran out of time, he ran out of time before he even had time to begin with, because that 7-second lead was just about unassailable. But for the next 18 minutes, we'll just keep an eye out on who is where and who can put themselves in a half-decent position. I tell you what, for David Lawface and Hirsch, if it ends like this, they'll be very chuffed.
There definitely will be. I'd love to see David get another pole position. I'm not sure if he's ever actually. I know he's won races. I'm not sure about pole position though, but yeah, that would be really good to see from the Alpine. But when you've got the likes of Wizard of Oz setting 13.9, it's going to be very difficult to even get near pole positions if that's the case. But our first person that's our lap, is it any doubt? It's Major Allen. Bit different actually to last session. It was Leonardo last session. He's not out first actually. He's even out second. Sheriff Woody's the second driver out on track, but Major Allen, let's see what he can do on his first run. See if he can improve from anything on the sprint quali. I think he did about 16.1 in the sprint quali. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do now. He is on the soft tyres for this session, and I'm not sure last time if he was on the mediums. I think he might have been. But as he comes around sector 2, it's a 54.3 for the Haas, and now approaches the end part of the lap. We've got the second to last one of a left-hand hairpin. Get on the accelerator, don't use the back end, and up towards the last corner now around the right-hand hairpin to finish off the lap. Is it 16 last time? And it's round about what he did in the sprint quali. A 16.1 for the first run of this main quali session for Major Allen. Next we've got Sheriff Woody coming round on the mediums. So this is where the tyre choices for quali gets a little bit changed. You might always think you're going for the softs, but obviously you've got 2 lots of quali to go on, so you might not always. Here comes Sheriff Woody. And it's a 15.6 on the mediums for him. So not a bad first run there for the Kick Sauber.
You call me crazy, but I think Major Allen has actually matched his sprint qualifying time in the main qualifying as Leonardo out his JSY. I was about to say Leonardo was in first. JSY said you had your 2 seconds of glory. I watched some of it. 1:14.7, but still for reference, that's 8/10 slower than Wizard of Oz's time. Granted, in the sprint qualifying, where track evolution is higher compared to the main qualifying, but nonetheless, JSY up in the top of the standings. Reese's Pieces has invalidated his first run. It would have been a 1:14.9, so this would have put him in a very comfortable second. David Lawface in their run, and I think now at this stage, having had a rough gist of who's where, what else do you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm not sure what to talk about. I mean, I want to talk about how much Wizard of Oz dominated so much in that last race. Like, it seemed like a different level. I reckon he would probably be up there with the tier 2s, the top of tier 2s with the pace that he had in that first session. And we're about to see what he can do now on the first run of this main quality session. He's literally flying over the curbs there. It just looks so quick. This looks so... He's got his setup just perfect around here. And, you know, Aviation JSY in with a 14.7. I think we could potentially see something close to the 13s again. He's coming around now on a 53.0. And I definitely think there's going to be some time that's either going to match that or be near to it. And it's on the first run of the main quality. He's still got hot lap to use and overtake to the line. Here he comes. It's going to be in the 30s again potentially. It's a bit slower on this occasion, but it's a 14.3 to start off with, and normally as we go through quali we do see improvement. So I do feel like we could see him in the 13s yet again, but the main question is, can anyone else get near there? And we've got Sid Sandwich in the box at the moment. Fair and Disputed is also in the box, and no one going out that early at the moment to really make a challenge on Wizard of Oz. We've got a few drivers out, but a lot of drivers still in the box. In fact, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, still 7 drivers with 11 minutes to go, still in the box. So this is literally now just under 12 minutes, like another sprint quali session for them.
Well, that it is, as there's David up to third in a 15.3. Our Gummers has just went up to a 15.4. Godfather on a 15.4 also. The two Sauber, 6th and 7th, Butterfly up in 8th and a 15.9. And yeah, not many drivers really setting a lap time so far, but just about 6 minutes into this qualifying session, and compared to the sprint qualifying, everyone was flying out for their first run. Right now, we're just seeing likes of Sheriff Woody and Butterfly just get a bit of a rhythm going on those mediums, just, I'd say, burn them up for the race, which I'm kind of surprised as to what they're actually doing. So if you've already burnt a set of mediums in the sprint race, why burn another set in qualifying unless you know something we don't? The flow on a 16, he's just missed out on a 16 flat, sad. You need to find 1000 flow and we'll be happy. Now we've got Locker and Reese's Pieces on a run. Sid Sandwich out for their first run on a set of mediums. And that's your lot right now. As I'm just trying to look through the chat. Oh, there's Major Allen, speaking of the devil himself. He says he was faster this qualifying than the last one. He was about 8 tenths faster. Well, that shut me up for saying I think he's matched this time. He was much faster than that. As there's Locker on his first run on a set of softs. We'll certainly hope to right the wrongs of the sprint race along with David and Leonardo and Major Allen, and I would say our drummers as well. Granted, those wrongs arrived at the wrong time for the Mercedes team right at the end, but it's not how you start, it's how you finish, and they hope to finish strong this evening on a 27-0 as Locker. That's a half decent sector 1, but this is where all your time's made up. Your tyres are screaming at the end of sector 2, and not even into sector 2, they're already pretty highly worn, as in towards turn 7 and turn 8, this deceptive understeery corner which Locker takes quite well, in towards turn 11 and now turn 12, just endless flat out, and a 53.9. It's not quite going to challenge Wizard of Oz, but it could put him up towards the likes of Godfather and our drummers at the moment. Up in 4th place is his teammate Locker, hoping to join him on that second row, but will need to dispatch David Lawface to do so and get himself up in 3rd. As around the final corner for Locker, a lot of battery left in store for that dash to the line, and he's the 3rd driver to join the 15.4s, but he's the slowest of the bunch. Godfather sandwiched between Das Deutsch of our drummers and Locker.
Yeah, I just noticed that with FPRL Locker when he does a few of his quali runs that he seems to always have a lot of battery left in the tank at the end of the lap. So maybe he just needs to look at the ERS management throughout the lap. He might find that if he uses a bit more and gets it down to, you know, obviously sort of 20% or right near the end or low down near 0% at the end of the lap, he might find a bit more time on his laps, but it'll take P6 for now. It's obviously over a second slower than obviously P1, but like we've already said, I don't think anyone's going to get near Wizard of Oz, but one driver that potentially could is Reese's Pieces, but no, Reese's Pieces only P7 at the moment. Another one that potentially could is Jay Undisputed. We saw that he had some good pace at the end of the sprint quali session. He's now going to come around the final corner on a set of softs. What can he do? And Sid Sandwich goes 8th place. And there we go, Undisputed just in behind Wizard of Oz there. Less than like Wizard of Oz, but just a few more thousandths on there as Button comes around for 14.7. At the moment, with 7 minutes to go, it very much looks like it's going to be between those front two. And Wizard of Oz still in the box. Whether or not he's going to go for his second run, I'm not sure. He might wait till the end of the session to go for that. We've got a few more drivers now coming across, setting some laps, and one of them is Sheriff Woody going to start his run. Leonardo is coming around. He's 3 temps up, so potentially you could see himself going into P5 at this time. Let's just see what he can do around the final corner, and he has really used his ERS perfectly as he now approaches the end of the lap, and he just goes in behind David Lowface now with that time there. So up a few places, obviously still a lot of time to go. Our Gummers starts his next run from P7. I'm just looking now at Major Allen. He's into the box. He's not going to improve. Sid Sandwich is the box as well. Jay will be into the box. Locker looks like, I thought he was coming around on another flyer there, but doesn't look like it. And I'm just trying to see the next one, but I think Josh is going to be the next one to come around on a lap. He now approaches the second to last corner on the hot lap, and probably won't have enough battery to overtake towards the line, but it looks not a bad time from the McLaren as he approaches the last section of the track and goes P5 with a 15.1, puts himself into the top 5, but once again, it's just so far off. Those front two, 8 tenths between first and second to fifth. So really, are looking quite in a league of their own at the front.
Yeah, there's no way putting it. They are not even a league of their own, they're a class of their own. But even at Button and JSY, that should be something interesting for third. And then you've got the rest. No offence, tier 3, but that's how we read it and how we see it. Silver's Boy getting in on the channel point redemptions. Cold Tom's drink, a drink for myself, thank you very much. And the truth are there, to no one's surprise, he has selected Monkey Boy Kurt. So we all know the go-to for Monkey Boy Kurt on these truth or dares. So pick your poison.
It will be truth, please, Mr. Gary, Mr. Hay.
Yeah, I mean, you are the most sensible one when it comes to these truth or dare things, because you always select truth. It's nothing... I mean, I don't take that the wrong way, but you always play it safe and you are the smartest person for that. Because every time you see a truth or dare, whenever someone says dare, the person who's redeemed it is just doing that how can I say it, like a Grinch-like smirk, knowing that you've just chosen death, and they'll just give you the most horrific dare redemption possible. Because we've had some absolute crackers in the past, along with a couple of our races as well, which, if you want to go through the FPRL archives, our YouTube channel, Fair Play Racing Lead, all lowercase on YouTube. All of our races we've uploaded from past FPRL seasons. Be sure to check them out. And there's a few favourites in particular which you might find, which F1 Esports, PSG, LWR, the usuals. We're just a minor league, and this is where it all kicks off. The minor leagues, we are up there in terms of entertainment. Silverside Boys, truth redemption to use Monkey Boy Kurt is: who is spilling the first drink at Mr. Tidgem's wedding?
Oh, definitely going to be you, Gary, if you're a lightweight. So we're going to get you absolutely steaming. And then, yeah, you're going to probably knock over a whole tray of shots or something. And then we'll get you to pay for another tray. I can see it now. That's what's going to happen. So, yeah, if that does happen, I want 50 quid, please, mate. Or you can pay for my drinks for the rest of the wedding night.
Just casually says 50 quid on your own bet. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, and I will take a virtual handshake as well, because I know Gary's a good betting man. He'd definitely agree to take me up on that. But yeah, he'll just break Locker's phone again.
Just break Locker's phone again.
Yeah, he's got a habit of breaking phones. Yeah, I'm keeping mine well away from you. I'm probably going to bring it in. No, actually, I'm going to bring a Nokia brick just for the wedding, just so you can't break it.
Improvise, adapt, overcome. That's what that is from Monkey Boy Kurt.
That's it. That literally is that.
Know thy enemy. As we've been joined by Cruz de Doro, who's sitting here quite a thing. With 3 minutes left in this qualifying session, we finally have an audience of one who has now promptly decided he's bored. Nice. Oh God. And I have now had my poison selected for me, courtesy of JSY, or is that? Oh no, it's J Undisputed. I keep forgetting J Undisputed as I am cancelled. J Undisputed, second place in the leaderboards. It says, "Give me your best Peter Griffin impression." If I can just play surf, can I? Jay,
sorry.
Can I?
Aviation just gone spinning.
Oh dear. J Undisputed. If I can just play Surfing Bird in the background, does that count? Yeah, I'm going to decline that. We might do it in between the races, but who knows. Anyway, 2 minutes left to go, and I think that actually is it going to be for JSY. Judging by how quickly he's got... Oh, there's one of the members of the crews went to the Shadow Realm. Oh, yep. Yep, Shadow Realm. Newest Red Bull mechanic, Casper the Ghost. As we approach the end of qualifying, 1 minute and 40 seconds to go. Everyone heading out for our outlap, and for GSY it looks like they will not improve from fourth. Sid Sandwich and all that has found themselves in fifth. Josh is on a run somewhere as Godfather has invalidated. Josh has actually just finished his run to go up to 6th. He's going to go for one more and hope it sticks. Leonardo is on his run. JSY, as we thought, has done a Sheriff Woody, throwing it over the chicane, trying to get to the line in time. He should have enough in hand to get there. He's got about 1 minute and he's nearly at sector 3. Should be okay. Our Drummers now in their final run and they're down in their time. Looks like they will not improve either, as Godfather, as we say, invalidated. Reese's Pieces down in 13th. He has to get his lap together ASAP and hope it's good enough to at least be in the top 5 or even ahead of his teammate. So 14.7 is the target and a purple sector 1. You do you, Reese's Pieces. Major Allen is just finished their run in a 15.8. He'll be chuffed with that, but down in 15th it just isn't competitive enough for the field. The Flow, no battery. It looks like they're done. 16th for the Aston Martin driver. Wizard of Oz is on their run. Button is not going to improve. They've invalidated and they're done. So now the door swings open even more for Reese's Pieces as he's in towards sector 3. He's up by 8/10, and that's what he needs to get up into the top 5 and maybe, just maybe, find himself in the front row. So keep an eye on Wizard of Oz and Gen Disputed and everyone else through the field. It looks like it's going to be the Flow to get to the line first, but will not set that up. Reese's Pieces goes second. Just misses out the one Wizard of Oz, who is up by a couple of hundredths and is down in his time. Now the advantage goes to Gen Disputed.
Yeah, Gen Disputed looks like he could potentially snatch this. Here comes the Wizard of Oz down on the time, but no, he's turned the battery off, and that's going to be it for him. He's not going to improve. So Reese's Pieces almost snatching pole there by 7 thousandths, but it's not going to be. So Gen Disputed now we will look towards, as we see everyone else now come in. The Godfather goes up to 10th with a 15.1. Now we're seeing our Gummers come across the line. He does not improve either. Of course, then got Sheriff Woody does not improve. Also, I think that was Major Allen does not improve either. Now we've got Josh. Is he up running? Josh is up by a little bit. We've got Josh, then we've got Locker, and then we've got Jay Undisputed. So we'll just watch these come in. Here comes Josh. Round the final corner he comes. What can he produce? He goes up to P8. Locker goes up to P11. Here comes Jay Undisputed. Is he going to take pole? And he is. He's going to take it by about, yeah, it is 7 hundredths of a second, 70 thousandths to be precise. And I think that is going to be the end of quali. And that is the final competitive lap of the session. Takes pole position off the Wizard of Oz. Jan Disputed with a 14.2. Wizard of Oz couldn't get near his sprint time of a 13.9, and it's Jay that's on pole for the main race, and his championship rival Reese's Pieces down third. It's definitely probably going to be another exciting main race between those two, but can the Wizard of Oz spoil the act for both of them and take home another win in the Haas?
I will actually quite curious here because I want to see how many races has Jay won. I think he's won 1 race this campaign. I know Reese's Pieces has won 2. So at the end of this, if Jay wins and Reese's Pieces gets second, we will potentially have a tie at the halfway mark in the season. There's your incentive to the season. So that is 1 victory for Jay. Then Reese's Pieces done the double. I'm fairly sure we have a potential here to have a tie at the halfway stage.
Interesting to see that. That will definitely be something that will be interesting going into the second half of the season. Just want to shout out, and it's someone's put it in the chat about David Lolfez. Gary's put it in the chat. David Lolfez up in P5. Oh! And
this wasn't in the script.
That is not even spitting. That is pouring with rain. So this is a curveball. This is going to be a very interesting main race now. Who has opted for a wet setup? Potentially now, some drivers that were a bit slower in the quali we've just seen, maybe they've put a wet setup on. Well, when I say wet setup, I mean your setup in terms of wings around Hungary is already really close to 50, if not 50. So it will be changes to the ride height and the roll bars and stuff like that. But as we say, migrating host, are we seeing? Oh, Are we seeing someone leave? I'm getting migrating
Oh,
hosts.
yep. We've had an early ready up again.
Who it is?
Uh,
Because I guess it's going to be a restart.
it will be a restart. Migrating host, and we've been confirmed of an early ready up. It is going to be a lobby reset for the third time this season.
Oh, okay.
Tier
Okay.
is tier 3. I know it's for some of you, so I'm going to say it again. Please wait for the countdown to appear. Do not start it yourself, because that's now I think that's the fourth time this season this has happened. 4 times. It's just not acceptable.
No, and if it's the same culprit, I don't think
Yeah.
we should probably allow him
If it
back
is
in
to be the
lobby.
same culprit, they're in serious trouble. So we will have a lot more time to talk about something, as we need to get the lobby ready and set for a wet weather Tier 3 Hungarian Grand Prix, which very much was not in the script, as we've got a special guest in the chat. It's Miss Frankie in the chat. Raining, it's pouring, Gary is snoring. That's how you make your presence felt in the chat, and Gary's took that to heart. Good evening to you, and yep. See, you've tuned in at a good time, but yeah, you got about another 10 minutes of me and Mounty Boy Kurt yapping away at each other. So at this rate, we'll just start our own podcast. Seems to be what everyone else is doing nowadays.
Yeah, I think we should join the trend, mate. It's good to see Frankie in the chat. Giving it large to Gary. What we'd love to see, a good bit of banter in the chat. If you want to know who does snore, and sure, this is probably me letting the cat out of the bag a little bit, but yeah, go and listen to David Lolface. He definitely is up there for a good snorer. I'd say he's probably one of the best in the whole country, to be honest. You need to experience it, Cruiser, I think.
I think this is going to be one of those times where you want to, but you also don't. As I'm just
Yeah,
have to check.
very true, to be fair. Jay said, "Get your hats on. There's an FPR race going past 10 p.m. and literally, it probably will be. It probably is going to now."
I keep asking what you want to talk about. I think it's about time I throw. I don't actually don't know. Because
Is that something?
what
You
else
always
is
put
there?
me on the spot, and I'm like, I
Yeah,
don't
I think
actually.
it's
I
only
haven't
fair
had
I try
time
and
to
check
think about
in,
it.
but I don't know what more to do, because we've had our general chatter for about 2 minutes. We've had a formation lap, which took another couple of minutes. We've had a 20-minute qualifying session, and now we've got this, which is going to take about another 10, 15 minutes. And as G Undisputed said, we're going to tick over the 2 hour mark for the stream. So, yeah, well, I think I'm ashamed to say
Did you see any of the Premier League at the weekend, Cruiser?
I caught some of it. Caught the United game against Arsenal.
You saw the
Serial
Fernandez
bottlers.
free kick then?
Yes, I did. And it was not a bad free kick. I'm still bitter though, because they beat us in January, and it was him that
Yeah,
scored in the last minute.
that was it. Oh dear. Well,
Yeah,
I also saw the Tottenham game. They were absolutely shocking as per usual this season.
yeah,
Um, Bournemouth absolutely battered them. It could have been 3-0 to them at one point. Um, and that was away from home for Bournemouth as well. But yeah.
yeah. Just that's how football goes sometimes.
Hmm.
Sometimes you just need to make your own luck, and sometimes that luck goes your way. I'm trying to think what else. My team didn't play at the weekend, thank God, because yeah, I'm not going to talk about it, but I'm just happy they didn't have to ruin it. But in the Europa League, a 3-1 win away to Fenerbahce, I'm very chuffed with that. And I'm awaiting that game on the Thursday. And I'm also ashamed to say on the 24th of March, I'm off to see WWE. I'm ashamed to say it.
Radical says, surely you watched the biggest game at 12:30 last weekend. Don't know what you're on about, mate.
12:30 kickoff. Oh yeah, who was it? It was Aberdeen and Queen's Park, of course. Yeah, I didn't see that one, Radical, sadly. Reese's Pieces saying up the Chelsea for the title. Good luck with that. Because they've just... Varichel's now gave another hint. Third against fourth, of course, we all know. Nottingham Forest and Man City. We all love the Nottingham. As Butterfly... Do we need to invite Butterfly? This is now where another conundrum kicks in, because they should have served a race ban.
Well, I want to know who readied up early again. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna. I think we'll get answers to that later tonight. But in the meantime, it's too silent. We need to get some. Oh, don't leave the session. That's all we need. We need to get something on in the background because it's far too silent. I always do this. I sit on the Xbox home menu, so I don't hear the game audio while we're talking. Just in between sessions. But yeah, it's too quiet. It's too quiet.
I'm going to see if I can find out who it was. But I don't want to invite anyone that I shouldn't be.
Yeah, well, we don't want to invite anyone we shouldn't again.
Yeah, exactly.
To be fair, I threw you in on that one, so you're welcome. It seems like they've not... I think they've actually said, which isn't... Yep, no one said yet, so... Seems like we're going to have a random race if it's not going to get loaded up. Twitch chat, help us out, bail us out. Who wants to give us a talking point? Gary said... Yep, Gary said who it is.
Where's that?
In the Twitch chat, Gary said who it is. And I think if we do invite Butterfly, that race ban will 100% be carried over to Baku. I'm going to make that decision as to that. I'm going to make that decision.
I've got a good question from the chat. What is your favourite flavour of drumstick squashies? Just because I'm eating them right now.
Right,
I've got,
there we go, Twitch.
We got the sour cherry and apple ones, and I think they're my favourite flavour now.
Right, chat. That's your question. What was it? What is your favourite flavour of? I completely forgot what you said it was.
Drumstick squashies.
Drumstick squashies. Yeah, go for it. As yeah, I think it's only fair we get Butterfly in the lobby if I can find them. I still don't think they've actually got me as a friend, which is half the battle of getting them into the lobby, you know.
Exactly, and we are missing someone else as well, because we're meant to have 18, so we are missing Undisputed as well.
Yeah, well, that's well, it's Jay, although, you know, it's Jay. There he is.
There's Jay.
And yeah, we just need to get the grid set up now. But what else? I'm cancelled. It says favourite flavour of Haribo's. I don't eat sweets. I'm weird. I don't like Haribo's. But if I was to pick one, I would choose the I go with like the green gummy bear Haribo's, whatever they are. And yes, Butterfly, I'm gonna bite here. I acknowledge you in the chat saying invite please. If you would have accepted us as a friend, we would get this done with by now. Okay?
That's it.
Yeah, Monkey, if you can get on that please, because there's gonna be a point where he's doing my head in. I have bits. I have bit to him. I will admit I have bit to him, but I don't care.
I got a question for the chat. Who's going to be the surprise in this F1 season? Who's going to be the standout that you think, I didn't think they would do well, and they come out and basically are really far up there with lots of points?
You know, I'm going to answer that question. Reese Pieces says Hulkenberg. Altenberg is just that though. He's always there. I think the surprise of the season is going to be Kimi Antonelli, but I think for all the wrong reasons. I'm not gonna put the kiss of death on him. I don't want to, but I think it's far too soon for him to be in that seat. To be fair, Verstappen done that, but it was natural to him. I think Antonelli's just had too much hype around him. It's going to get to his head, and it's going to be a lose-lose for him. If he performs well, the media's going to be all over him. If he performs badly, the media's going to be all over him, and then we'll start the gossip of when's he going to get the De Vries treatment? When's he getting sacked?
Exactly.
I mean, Bottas. I mean, they've got Bottas waiting. They've got Mick Schumacher. Well, did have Mick Schumacher waiting. They've got some damn good drivers, Mercedes, who can take that seat like that.
Oh, we've lost another driver.
Lobby resets are fun. As I'm just looking through the chat, Jen Disputed says Alonso for that third championship. Begging. I want Alonso. I don't care if Alonso doesn't win the title. I want Alonso to be in the top of the podium again. As well, whoever's dropped out of the lobby needs to join up quickly. As whoever that was, they've got about 20 seconds. Reese's Pieces has said Vettel to replace Lawson and win it. We can dream. Radical says Bortoletto. Reese's Pieces also trolled as saying Rosberg. I think you're about 10 years too late. I think you're about 20 years too late on that one, mate.
I personally like Radical's answer of our gummers. Didn't realise that we were talking about real life.
Well, our gummers could be a surprise package in this race. Who knows?
It could be. What's this? What do you all think of that?
Yeah. Yes, that is a question. I'm not going to answer it, but that is a question.
What do you think about Kanye and his recent antics? I don't really pay much attention to that. So...
They have happened.
Yeah.
That's my answer. They have happened.
Yeah, I don't really pay much attention to Kanye.
I think someone should just close his Twitter account politely. But still, and we'll move on from the Kanye West antics. Tier 3, do not forget your setups, and do not ready up before the lobby host. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you.
Just a quick one, Cruiser. How do we feel about this race going past 10 o'clock?
Not great, but it's been a while. It's been a while since we've had a 2-hour stint, so it's about time. And even at that, two of our races coming up next is street circuits, so there is very much a good chance that. Oh, wait a minute! Isn't next week's event a full qualifying?
I believe you might be right there, mate. Yeah, around back here. I think that is what we've said this season.
2-hour streams back to back. And then I'm going to have to leave you hanging on the 24th of March.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I'm sorry. It's Singapore too. I'm sorry.
Lighter to me. Not gonna lie. How about you? But look, it's heavy.
A little bit lighter. It's still raining. There's that. And Radical has confirmed full qualifying depending on numbers. I'll definitely be racing next week, and I will be racing on Wednesday night. Be sure to check out Tier 2s on Wednesdays and Tier 1s on Fridays, 8 PM UK time on twitch.tv/FP Racing League. If you're watching us on YouTube, hello, the algorithm is kind. And be sure to follow our Twitch channel where we predominantly stream our races and import them over to our YouTube channel. And our socials, our X account, formerly Twitter, at FairPlayRL. Our newly revamped Instagram, can't imagine what with the old one. Fairplay_RL, and there is one more platform we're missing, and that I believe is our Discord server. Type !F1 in our Twitch chat, and you'll get access to our Discord server. Nightbot will also drop the links sporadically throughout our streams. Click the link, complete the sign up status, and we'll get you in for the next half of races, the next and final 7 races of F1 24 as we begin the countdown to F1 25. And that's something I do want to talk about. If you are interested, Monkey Boy Kurt, in new consoles, the new Nintendo Switch, they're having their full, their full deep dive April 2nd, which will be 2 weeks on Wednesday. And we're not going to get your answer because we've got 5 lights ahead of the drivers. G Undisputed in the front row, and in a damp, drizzling Hungary, we are underway in Budapest. G Undisputed getting a very slow launch. Wizard of Oz getting an equally poor start. Reese's Pieces now up to second place, where he wants to be at the end of this race, ideally. As, oh dear, we went bowling. Wizard of Oz from the front row down to the back, as he's been tagged by Reese's Pieces and then followed up by Button. G Undisputed gets the start he needed, and the start he would have preferred for the sprint race earlier on. Reese's Pieces now second, and what a start from Leonardo up to third. Josh in fourth, David fifth, Godfather sixth, Sheriff Woody, Locker, Harsh and our drummers in 10th, but Leonardo picking up where Wizard of Oz has fell off.
Yeah, Wizard of Oz getting tagged around. Not the start he wanted, nothing like the sprint race he had, and down at the back it is now going to be for him, but can he make his way back through the field? Will he have the dominant speed he had in the dry? Will he have that in the wet? We're just going to have to wait and see now if he can make any inroads back towards Button in the back of the pack. But as you say, Leonardo, absolutely brilliant launch off the line, and he's already up 5 positions from P8 to P3. And he's looking quite comfortable already, but J Undisputed as well looking comfortable at the front after 1 lap, already 8 tenths ahead of his title rival Reese's Pieces. And if, like you say, if it was to start this for the rest of the race, it would be a tie at the top of the standings. But Leonardo is keeping to the back of Reese's Pieces quite well here, and Josh also in 4th, up from P7 as well. He's done pretty good on the first lap. Also Sheriff Woody up 4 places up to 7th, and Hirsch is up 5 places to 9th from 14th on the grid. Looking now at having a look at FPRL Locker for P8 as he goes down the inside, tries to get on the accelerator, and that is where, if you're on full traction, this is where the wet weather sort of really, oh, there you go, Wizard of Oz decides to retire from the race already. So he's took the win in the sprint because of that drastic and awful start to the main race. He's decided to call it a day there. But as I was saying, this is where if you're on full traction, you're kind of at a bit of a disadvantage because of the wet weather. The actual game doesn't tend to put as much acceleration down, whereas if you're on no traction around here, you're able to control it. You can get a lot more exit speed out of the corners. So all of the no traction runners here, as long as they don't lose the back end, they could potentially be gaining quite a few places up in this race. But then it's just getting past people around this really tight Hungary.
That it is, and Godfather and David Lawface having their own little fight. 2 seconds now they've lost out there to Josh, who's in his own little private, his little private island. 1 second behind Leonardo, and 2 seconds ahead of that fight for 5th. The top 4 starting to break away from the other McLaren. David Lawface losing ground, as we said, to Godfather. Sheriff Woody right behind them as well, hoping to pounce as quick as he can. Reese's Pieces now with the fastest lap of the race, and looks like he is definitely thinking about that move there on G Undisputed. He's going to go for it. Late is the Red Bull. He didn't want to do it, but I don't think he had a choice. Thankfully, Jay seen him coming and gave him just enough space to fit around turn 1 and turn 2. Leonardo now on the back of the Red Bull, thinks about it in towards turn 3. Reese's Pieces goes wide. Leonardo is just happy to sit there and heckle that Red Bull. Leonardo, he's not had much luck this season, but right now he is more than happy to stay in 3rd as Sheriff Woody, his teammate, around the outside of David Lawface at turn 4. Brave, brilliant, and unfortunately we just caught the end of it, but David Lawface from 5th, now 7th, and has now got Hirsch behind them, along with Locker and our drummers. The 2 Mercedes, 9th and 10th. Major Allen 2 seconds off of the points, with Sid Sandwich, the Flow, Butterfly, Button, after making a bit of a recovery, is now caught the back of the pack. He's ahead of Rainbow now in 15th place, and Jen Disputed, after that little warning there from Reese's Pieces, has certainly took the incentive and built that gap now back to 1.03 seconds.
Yep, Leonardo definitely, for me though, has been the driver that's impressed me so far in the first 3 laps of this wet race. He's not using that much battery either to keep with Reese's Pieces. He's just finished 2nd, but as it's obviously wet at the moment, the DRS isn't going to matter. So he just needs to try and stay on the tail of the Rebel. Oh, and Rainbow is out of the race, and that is going to be a full course safety car, and the leaders have just gone past. So if anyone did want to come in at this point and get a fresh set of inters on, it's not really going to be any advantage for the guys that have come in, like Button, for example, because the safety car has just missed the leaders. So everyone now will go around at a delta, and obviously everyone will come into the pits if they want. I mean, this is difficult here. Do you come in? I mean, I know it's early on, but we know what the tyre wear is like around here. And potentially with wet tyres, could we see at this early stage maybe some people trying to come in, maybe go till the end? We know we've got 3 sets of inters, so they potentially could do. It all depends if they're going to lose any positions to the guys behind. At 4 laps, though, I think we'll probably see a lot of the guys at the back try and make maybe a move from the pits. The guys at the front, I reckon, will probably stay out.
I don't think there's too much of an offset, because you're only 3 laps into a race. Well, there'll be 4 laps in at the end of this one. I don't think there'll be too much tyre wear compared to what you would have started on, so I don't think it's worth making a pit stop unless you had damage, in which case for Button it was kind of forced to get a new front wing. As you can just see by the delta as well, everyone just almost coasting around here just to keep that delta positive. And what's going to be the cue here for everyone? It looks like Jay's going to carry on, so is Reese's Pieces, and to my surprise not. Actually, Josh is going to go round, and it does seem like everyone is just going to stay out, and that is exactly it. Who is going to come in? That is our Dummers, Major Allen, Sid Sandwich is in. So is no one else. So it's only those 3 who are going to take a cheap hit here and make a pit stop. That will drop them only a couple of places behind the flow, behind Butterfly, and they should get out ahead of Button unless that delta goes away now because the field have caught the safety car. And for Sid Sandwich's case, that is a new front wing. Our Dummers, that is just a tyre change. And what about Major Allen? It looks like another tyre change as well. So Sid Sandwich's hand was kind of forced. The other 2 making a pit stop now. So let's see what they can do now. They've got a couple of laps fresher rubber on their cars. And I think there'll be at least 2 laps behind the safety car. So we'll get going again on lap 6. Of course, the perfect time now to say we have another channel point redemption. It's not like you've burnt them enough already. Safety car question. Just another bit of interaction between the Twitch chat and the commentary team, because right now me and Monkey Boy Kurt are running out of things to say, and we're not even 6 laps into this race. So we are in for a very meandering evening, shall we say ourselves, in terms of what we talk about. So, yep, still raining.
Yep, still raining. We're going to see the safety car go around once again. We're not going to see Button and Sid Sandwich catch up to the pack before the end of this lap. So it is going to go around once again. Having said that, will it be a late call? I don't think it. No, it's definitely too late now. We are going to see it go around once more. And yeah, just another lap for the drivers to try and warm up their tyres. Obviously in the wet you don't have to try as hard to warm them up, but essentially going slow behind that safety car really does affect the heat of those tyres, and you really have to try and really get some good braking power and some weave into them to get them heated up. But I don't think it should be too much of a problem, or as much of a problem in the wet conditions. Let's look at just once again at the big movers from the start of the race. As we said, Leonardo up 5 positions to P3. He'll be very happy with that at the moment. Godfather's up 4 positions. Sheriff Woody's up 5 positions. Hirsch is up 6 positions, and the Flow's up 6 positions. So those 2, the big gainers at the start of this race. And then, yeah, really, even David Loleface is down a couple, but then everyone else practically, apart from the ones that had a bit of a collision at the start, obviously Sid Sam was down 8 and Button down 11, and they'll be looking to try and make their way back through the field now. But it is such a hard track to overtake, so, you know, especially in the rain as well, it'll be very, very difficult for people like Button and Sid, who we know have got probably a bit more pace than the likes of the guys at the back to make any moves, really. They're really going to have to get their elbows out, as we've had another couple of drink redemptions from Shadows, keeping us all hydrated. This Mad Treat is going down very well.
I haven't had a drink yet, so I might as well. Pepsi Max ASMR ready. If that came through, it did. If it didn't, I'm sorry, but trust me, I'll do it for Pepsi Max only. Because I need it right now. Silver Side Boy saying, I want to call that David rigged it to rain. Obviously joking. Well, I mean, he did rig it in a way, but it was kind of to copy what we already had. Anyway, safety car is heading into the pits on lap 6 of still a very murky, damp Hungaroring. Undisputed leading from the off from pole position is now got to take a restart, and I think if he's clever here, he'll pull the pin just halfway around the final corner as they do back up the field a lot. Everyone trying to keep in line as Leonardo and Josh just having to settle back in line. Jay taking the qualifying line, go out wide, cut to the inside, pin it, and away you go to get underway, and that has worked out a treat for the RB. Reese's Pieces now second, Leonardo still third. Who else is looking to jockey in the pack? Looks like Sheriff Woody is looking to have a go, and defending against David Lawface, having a go there against the McLaren of Godfather. I guess a poor run. Sheriff Woody going to use a bit of a battery to try and get the overtake done at turn 3. Godfather has seen that one coming and is going to sit in 5th for a moment longer, but goes a bit wide there in turn 3 and towards turn 4. Sheriff Woody is still there. I think he's going to remain there for the next couple of corners, even laps, and hopefully not for his sake until the end of the race.
Yeah, not too bad of a restart there. I don't think I saw any coming together. There was a little bit of wheel banging between Hirsch and FPRL Locker, who was still fighting as they go into the chicane. But apart from that, I think everyone was quite clean on the first half of this restart lap. Obviously from the safety car, lap 7 of 35. Leonardo still sticking with the top 2. He's 6 tenths behind Reese's Pieces, and he really would like some DRS here, but obviously he's going to get it with the wet conditions. As David Lowface making the move there on Sheriff Woody. It's a fantastic move there from the Alpine, and he puts himself up to P6, but he now just finds himself 1.2 seconds already off the back of Godfather in 5th. The two McLarens actually 5th and 4th at the moment. We trying, if they can, to wait for Leonardo to make any little mistake, try and get themselves up into the podium positions as Reese's Pieces takes another fast up over 1:28.8. Is that a sign that the track's maybe getting a bit quicker, or just a sign that he's used a lot of battery on that opening lap this day with Jay Undisputed? But it's just 4 attempts between the two, and what Reese really wants to do, just wants to try and get close out of the last corner of the lap, and then use a bit of battery down towards turn 1, and maybe try and make a move on the brakes potentially down the inside, as we see our Gummers and Butterfly hustling for position there, jostling for position. And that's our Gummers up to P11 now. Obviously they've stopped as well. Their tyres are a bit better in terms of wear, and now we come to the flow. And yeah, he's looking quite quick actually. He's not used any battery at the moment either as our Gummers, so that extra few laps of performance on the tyres could really help him out in these situations like this, as we see David Lowface with the first 3-second penalty of the race as well. And it looks like Reese's Pieces is off, and that means Leonardo goes up into P2. The Kick Sauber gains another position now into 2nd spot, but it does mean that Jay Undisputed now 1.7 lead at the front.
Yes, Reese's Pieces I think got on the curb there going around turn 12 and just drifted wide. Leonardo taking the invitation and doesn't need a second one. Up to 2nd place now for the Sauber, and is currently on for his best result in the league so far. Reese's Pieces now got work to do to get back ahead of Leonardo, who's putting on a stellar performance himself. Josh in 4th, looking to right the wrongs of the past couple of races and get himself another half-decent points haul himself. Godfather in 5th, David 6th, got on a 3-second penalty as well. Sheriff Woody still 7th. Hirsch, Locker and the flow now ahead of our Gummers in 10th. And with the rain, brings a new challenge, of course no DRS to help you make the overtake, and just makes it even more difficult and treacherous. But what I will say It might help with the tyre wear if you just know what you're doing. As there's Josh just about getting it stopped in time for Reese's Pieces, who seems to have a common theme tonight of just struggling to keep his tyre temps under control. No matter rainstorm, flood or barren and dry, Reese's Pieces, he just struggles to keep the tyres under control, and it's starting to cost him now. Leonardo's kept that gap to Jay, but Reese's Pieces, he hasn't quite stuck to the back of that Sauber like he was hoping for. And for the sake of Josh, he's got his teammate telling him to get that, telling him to hurry up, because I think at this rate, the car might want to think about switching cars.
Yeah, he might want to. Leonardo's doing fantastic here in these wet conditions. He's sticking with Jan Disputed. He's hardly using any battery either. In fact, he's at 97% as he goes around the final corner. So he's really not using anything. And Jay is actually using a little bit more as he takes the fastest lap of the race with a 28.8. I'm surprised at that because Leonardo's only 1.3 seconds behind him, and it seems like really that he's either been faster or pretty much the same. But he's doing well at the moment to stay within that sort of gap of 1.5 seconds. We've just seen the Flow take the fastest lap of the race as well, down in P10. So really looks like everyone from first down to 10th in this situation is going at quite basically the same pace here, so very interested to see that. There's no one at the moment that's really outperforming everyone else by a massive margin like we saw with Wizard of Oz in the sprint race, as we see Sheriff Woody there slide around the right-hander trying to keep ahead of FPRL Locker, but Hirsch once again, and these wet conditions will suit Hirsch. I know Hirsch will run no traction. This is what I was saying earlier, he can get more exit speed out of the corners, and he's now gained a bit like Leonardo, he's gained 7 positions. Leonardo's gained 6, so it seems like these conditions are suiting certain drivers more than they are others. And Leonardo once again after that lap, 1.6 behind Jan Disputed, who hasn't really lost out anything, and he's also kept his battery at 95%, whereas Jay's had to drop his down to about 78. So Jay's using a bit of battery here to sort of keep his gap at the lead. Leonardo looking very strong here. If we have rain for the whole race, could we see him with his first podium?
Well, that is the goal for him at the end of the day, and maybe go one step further. As what I've noticed here is that Tier 3, whenever they win races, they don't want to make it easy for themselves. That seems to be the running theme of the campaign. As if I remember correctly, Godfather winning at Silverstone, and last time out, Sid Seinlich around Belgium started down in 15th, if I'm correct, and came home to win then. So might be keeping up the trend here. Someone starting outside the top 5 is on for a victory, and Leonardo's keeping that trend alive and well as he's drifting it, almost showboating a little bit there to the camera around turn 6, as he's very much keeping Jay honest, and that gap hasn't went above 2 seconds. Reese's Pieces is now just happy to sit behind the Sauber and let him pull him along. Josh, Godfather, David, Hirsch, Sheriff Woody, Locker and the Flow, the top 10 covered, well top 11 should include our drummers there, covered by 7 seconds, as Sheriff Woody has made the move on Hirsch after a mistake there from the Ferrari. Sheriff Woody now back into 7th place and can now chase down David Lawface, and Leonardo now is just about creeping into that 1 second window. Jay might be struggling a little bit with his tyres here. 11 laps into this race, Leonardo might be onto something here with his tyre management and battery management. He's at a full battery. Jay is just a little bit less, but that gap has dropped down considerably. At one point, it was around 1.9 seconds in a lap and a half. That's now been halved and more.
It is, and the team of McLaren's now fighting for P4. Godfather does go through on his teammate and does take 4th position off Josh. David Lowface now having to have a look at Josh for P5, and it gets a little bit on the grass there, loses a bit of time. And we're seeing everyone slide around these corners. Just saw David and Josh both sliding around turn 4 there. It's really, really treacherous conditions. Sheriff Woody now trying to have a go at Hirsch. And Hirsch has come up to P7, but now it looks like he's stalled a bit. Oh, and Sheriff Woody sliding it round up the hill there, really keeping good car control in these conditions. But look how close now, I was just about to say, look at Leonardo, look how close he is to Jan Disputed. Now it's only half a second and he's still got a full battery. He's not even using that battery, and he is really gaining on the second place driver in the championship, keeping ahead of the championship leader as well, who is right on the back of him as well, it has to be said. But Leonardo looking extremely skillful and extremely quick in these conditions. And will he now try and use all of his battery down the main straight to try and get into the lead of this race? Because I think if he can get ahead, he could potentially run away with this race at the speed that he's going at. As he now comes around the final corner, gets a little bit on the curb though. I think that's going to affect him a little bit. Just get now the overtake going. He's using a bit too much of it. I think doesn't want to use too much of that battery. But the gap is now down to 4 tenths, and he really is looking like a strong contender potentially to win this race if he can keep it on track, as he's now going to try and look for a move down at the inside of turn 4, and he can't find anywhere there, and this is where it is so hard to overtake around the Hungary ring. He's just got to try and find the right place at the right time to make an overtake, and he should potentially see himself into the lead. But at the same time, he's got Reese's Pieces harrying him like anything right behind, only half a second behind as well.
That's it is, in the top 4 and they're covered by 1.1 seconds, and it looks like Josh made the right move to let his teammate through. Godfather right in the back of Reese's Pieces, and the top 4 going at it. Jay gets a really poor run there out of the chicane, and the top 5 now, Josh is starting to creep back in range as well. David 3 seconds behind them, but on that penalty he's got Hirsch keeping them honest as well, along with Sheriff Woody, who's now dropped back behind the Ferrari. As this is Leonardo's chance, Jay spies that chance and is going to shut the door on him as Reese's Pieces goes around the outside of the Sauber, and this is where it's going to start to get a little bit messy here between the top 4. Leonardo tries to defend his place around the outside of the penultimate corner. Reese's Pieces has the inside line. Jay Undisputed gets a little bit of a swirly exit there, and Reese's Pieces going to launch it on Jay, and that is the first time.
And Godfather into the lead.
That was a very bold move from Reese's Pieces, and it has completely destroyed them. He's now down to 6th place. Jay's now 4th. And he's now back up to 3rd. If Josh can hold on here, he's going to launch it down inside at turn 1. Leonardo's got to be careful here. And it's a McLaren 1-2.
What a
when
move
just a
from
few
Josh.
corners ago, they were 4th and 5th. Leonardo still holds on for 2nd, forces Josh in the curb, who launches himself into towards turn 3. That's going to give Jay a run on him, and David as well. Josh has got to get it back under control quickly, and he's only just survived to lose 1 place. And at one point, the gap between the top 10... David's gone! He got on the curb as well.
Oh, David's gone absolutely flying there up the hill. We've seen a few people go off there in previous seasons in FPRL and obviously real life as well at that corner. And he's now down to P12. He was having such a good race up in the top 5. And now he's going to find himself out of those points positions. Going to have to try and make it, try and make some inroads back towards the top 10. But yeah, that contact between Jay and Reese's Pieces, the 2 championship leaders, letting Godfather go into the lead from P4. It was into P1 in the space of a couple of seconds, but Leonardo still trying to be as quick as he can and try and keep on the back of the McLaren. But now it looks like he's following the McLaren. Godfather looks like he's got a bit more, looks a bit more comfortable in these conditions than Jay was, and Jay really is now starting to drop off as well. He's 1.2 seconds behind Leonardo. He's got Josh all over the back of him. He's now got Reese's Pieces and Hirsch as well. Oh, there's contact! And Reese's Pieces and Hirsch come together. Both of them, well, Reese's Pieces definitely into the wall. Hirsch has also lost some wing, and that is definitely not ideal for both of those drivers. And Reese's Pieces down now in 9th position, the championship leader. This is treacherous for his season. Jay now would take the championship to say like this, but yeah, not ideal for the 2 drivers. And I think Hirsch really just missed the breaking point, to be honest.
What is really important for this is that Reese's Pieces has got front wing damage as well as Hirsch. He did not get away from that unscathed. Front left end plate damage, which isn't too bad around here, but it's still bad enough to be noticed. Godfather and Leonardo now, 1 second between the pair of them, and at one stage the 2 of them were 2nd and 4th. Now one of them remains in 2nd and the other one's in the lead. Jay Undisputed now 3rd. Josh in 4th, looking to do his teammate a favour as he is doing more than heckling that RB. It just looks like those tyres are starting to go off, and for Jay's sake he's going to try and take this to about half race distance. and just pit around lap 18 and do the next leg of the race on another set of inters, because that seems to be the way to go in these wet conditions. If it is to remain though, that's another question, as Josh has got a really strong exit there out the final corner. He's going to look for the move to get himself on the podium, make it 2 McLarens on the podium, and make it a 1-3 for McLaren, but Josh gets a twitch, he runs wide. I said give Jay the switch back, and is that going to invite Sheriff Woody through? No. Sheriff Woody just hangs in there, but Josh knows he's got the better of the RB, but can he use that to his advantage as he goes wide at turn 3 again? And once again he's suffering from the overheating, as Sheriff Woody done it to David, and now he's done it to Josh. That time we caught it, and this time Sheriff Woody gets ahead of Josh. 4th place now. McLaren, Sauber, RB, Sauber, McLaren. There's your top 5.
Yeah, I can't help thinking that just seeing some of these drivers now really starting to struggle in these conditions. They're really starting to slide around the corners. Is it time to come in for a fresh set of inters? Josh is off again now, and FPRL Locker really now on the back of him. All of a sudden now Locker sliding around the corners as well. I really think, is it time maybe to get onto a new set of inters? And would they be so much better on performance that you would just instantly come back through the field? And once again they carry on. Godfather carries on, Leonardo carries on, but he's sliding everywhere, and it definitely looks like now Godfather is in control of this race. At one point it was Leonardo, but it looks like Godfather's just got the pace around here. He just feels very comfortable. Jay Undisputed now got Sheriff Woody all over the back of him. And I do feel, is it a point where you come in, like I say, for a new set of inters and really just, maybe you'll gain at 1.52 seconds a lap, and throughout the rest of the race you'll actually gain like time on the guys in front of you. It wouldn't be a surprise to me if some of the guys at the front all decided to pit soon. I think we can actually look at David Loleface and see maybe, as he's just come in, just see what the gap is between him and the leader and see if it's coming down or not.
Well, it's certainly coming down between himself and Butterfly, as, let's have a look, the leader graphic, 30 seconds he is behind the Ferrari, he's behind the Godfather. That's when 10 seconds he's behind the Ferrari of Butterfly. But I think he loses around 20 seconds in a pit stop here, so David, it's going to be a tall order to get back in his race. But if anyone can do it, it's going to be one of the wise men of the lead. Locker's still behind Josh, and Godfather has checked out now 2.2 seconds, and I think Leonardo's little flurry around lap 14, it's faded away. His tyres have just suffered a little bit too much, but he does have that buffer of around 2.5 seconds back to Jay Undisputed. And was that Leonardo pitting? No, it wasn't. Neither was Godfather, as the answer to that was, it wasn't McLaren, but it's Josh. So Josh is going to go for the undercut here on Jay. Let's see how this pans out here for him, as the flows in the pits as well. That might be to try and cover off David. As Sheriff Woody down the inside of Jay Undisputed at turn 1 and gets the move ahead of the RB, who's just slowly falling backwards through the order. Qualified on pole is Sheriff Woody. Make your choice there, Jay. Go left, go right, I'm going to cover you off. Either way, some robust defending from Sheriff Woody, ensuring Jay wasn't getting past him that easily. And the Saubers now accommodate second and third.
Yeah, now just checking David Loleface there, who didn't even have the best lap. And that gap's now down to Godfather, who's 28 seconds. So those tyres at the moment are about 2 seconds quicker a lap. Now is the time to get into the pits and get a new set of intermediates on. And I think if Leonardo needs to do that to try and get an undercut on Godfather, but he has to get in before Godfather does, because definitely at the moment the way to go is to get on a fresh set of intermediates. Even Reese's Pieces with 5 tenths quicker than David, so Reese's Pieces is around about almost 3 seconds a lap quicker than the Godfather at the moment. Are we going to see anyone come into the box? Godfather stays out. Leonardo should pit, but he does not. Sheriff Woody does not pit either. Jay Undisputed does. Is that the smart decision? FPRL Locker does. Probably another smart decision. Is the gap now between Godfather and David is 26 seconds. That's another 2 seconds gained. Definitely the best decision to make here is get on a fresh set of inters, because if you don't do it now, you're not going to get them 35 laps and you will end up being right at the back
the end point of this race. Definitely, I would feel it's time to get into the box and get on a fresh set of intermediates. Here comes Jay, here comes Locker, and they're going to come out in around P10. Yeah, P10 it is for Jay, and look at that, David Lowface has jumped. Yeah, undisputed. That's how much of an undercut and how much more advantage the fresher tyres have got over those worn ones.
Not to mention too, Josh has got the jump on David, especially after David launched over the turn 5 curb. But Josh has now found himself in a very strong position here. Got about 17 laps to go. The top 7 have yet to make their pit stop, whereas Josh has made his pit stop. He can get them to the end, as Reese's Pieces, that just puts pay to his race, which has went south very quickly, along with that Red Bull car, now 12th place after this pit stop. And Josh is going to run through a little bit of traffic here in the form of the Ferrari of Butterfly. He's got to get past him as quick as he can, and he's going to get held up a bit around sector 2. That's going to give Godfather a chance just to keep his lead for a little bit longer, as Josh giving Butterfly a hurry up, saying, get out of my way, please, I'm in a race for a victory. Butterfly doesn't have to get out of the way, he's not getting lapped. He runs wide though, and retakes the line, and Josh, using the curb and going a bit wide in the process, tries to get ahead of Butterfly, and this is costing him so much time. Thankfully for him, Godfather hasn't pitted, whereas Butterfly has pitted just there, along with Major Allen, who's in a very quiet race himself. Running up in a net 5th, he will emerge, I would imagine, behind Sid Sandwich, which will be towards the back of the pack. But lap 20 now, it seems like Godfather and Leonardo and Sheriff Woody, and for that matter our Dummers as well, up in 4th, another quiet race for him. Seems like they're just happy to carry on, and whereas for Button, he's going to get caught up here by this group, and has Button. Button has technically made his pit stop, along with our Dummers for that matter. But I doubt they'll get 8 tires to the end, especially if they're starting to fall off after around 12 to 14 laps. Both of them have ran their tyres now for around 15, and our Dummers has front wing damage for that matter.
Yeah, well, I mean, they never had to make a stop in the first place. Obviously, it's the wet. Oh, and our Dummers is off there. Sheriff
That's
Woody
all he
trying to
needs.
grab the outside of Sheriff Woody, and that did not work out for him. Loses a bit of time there. But yeah, the guys at the front have got to pit now. They have to pit. And Godfather, no, he carries on. Leonardo, is he to carry on? Is he going to come in? He's going to carry on.
No. Wow.
Again.
Oh, he thought about
Sheriff
it.
Woody carries
From
on.
there, no. They've got to know something here that we don't. As Button's gone. And it's a virtual safety car. What has happened to Button though? We can see his car. That looks like he's been tagged and collided with someone on the inside.
Yeah,
he was fighting with Josh and David. He might have had a collision there with Josh.
I'm not sure. I think Reese's Pieces might have hit him. He's got a 10-second penalty for it.
Josh, yeah, my connection is really shoddy tonight.
How long is this VSC going to stay out for? Is it going to stay out for long enough for Godfather, Leonardo and Sheriff Woody to make a pit stop? Obviously the two... Well, there's your answer. No, it's not. And Leonardo really now dropping back. He's so slidey, and he's really dropping back into the clutches now of his teammate. And there we see Josh getting a penalty as well. Leonardo has got to pit now. He hasn't got a penalty at the moment either as well. He needs to pit. Get on to... I mean, we say that though, but then look at the rain.
The rain is lightening up.
Maybe it's going to go to dry weather. They're trying to stay out for it.
Well, they're going to have to hope it arrives at the right time. Because right now, Josh is now 19 seconds behind Godfather, who's doing more than nursing those tires. Josh can just go for it now and try and make up the time. Otherwise, it's a lost cause. There's a switch there at Sauber. The track is dry. Sheriff Woody's in. He got ahead of his teammate and has now got preference to go onto a set of dry tyres. That's odd. Armor's 10 seconds. That's his race over, I fear. But Sheriff Woody now. This might have just came full circle here for the Sauber driver onto a set of mediums. Wise choice, I've got to say. As he's going to just get out ahead of the Mercedes. Game on now. Can Sheriff Woody get in the pit stop window of Godfather?
Yeah, this is the question. Or is it a bit too early for those medium tyres? He's looking a bit
really slick.
slidey at the moment. Is Sheriff Woody and
Oh, our
Leah.
drummer's pitted for Inters.
Yeah,
That's
I think
gotta
it's
be a mistake.
I think it's a bit early for mediums.
Oh,
Yeah, Sheriff Woody
he's
is.
pulled the pin too soon.
Yeah, Sheriff Woody is literally sliding around like anything at the moment, and I think you just, like you say, pulled the pin a bit too early. But Leonardo and Godfather just got to keep it going, just for maybe a couple more laps, and they will keep the lead of this race. So there's us saying they've got to come into the box. Well, no, they don't actually. They need to stay out.
Josh pitted as well. Josh pitted onto a set of mediums. He's going to be suffering too.
Yeah,
Godfather's now pitted.
Godfather's pitted. Leonardo's pitted.
He's got to, surely. Now he is. What about David? David's going to stay out a little bit longer. Where's Jay? He's on his inside. That's where Jay Undisputed is. He's going to try and take the lead off David Lawface, who is not having any of it. He's going to try and fight this out as long as he can here, little David. Jay Undisputed, though, is going to look around the outside at turn 1. Godfather re-emerges on a set of medium tyres. Leonardo's going to pit onto a set of mediums and is going to get out in the pits ahead of, I would imagine, that would be ahead of Sheriff Woody, who's going to lose out to his teammate despite making an undercut. That just shows how badly that's panned out there for the Sauber team. As Leonardo himself goes deep at turn 1, Godfather might just have this race under control. He's just got to keep it facing forwards.
Yeah, I think Godfather's definitely now going to be in the main seat to take the victory here. Definitely miles ahead of the next medium runner, which is Leonardo, now by 11 seconds. And everyone else now on the Inters will have to pit for dry tyres as our Gummers makes a move, though, on Godfather. And I don't know if Godfather made a mistake there or if it's still just the Inters that are slightly the faster tyre. But by the time it obviously gets to changing again, I do think it's going to be
You see that?
Godfather.
Sandwich is keeping up.
Yeah, I think it's going to be.
It still might be a little bit too early. That's just a bit done it in for Sheriff Woody.
Yeah, I do think, really, to be honest, that it might be a little bit slower, the track for mediums, but by the time, well, look at that, David Dolphus was the fastest, that were 1:26.3. Let's compare that to the Godfather. Well, I don't know, the Godfather came in to the box last lap, so that will be not a representative lap. But then now people are starting to make the move for mediums. Flo going onto softs.
Oh,
I don't think he's taken them that far. But yeah, Godfather now, the gap, he's now getting overtaken by Sid Savage. The gap's 9 seconds. I still think Godfather at the moment is probably made the, maybe not necessarily the right choice, but he's still going to be in the lead of this race come when everyone pits for dry tyres.
And the yellow flags. Oh, Flo's gone. First corner, her Flo's gone after this pit stop of Major Allen. It does look like the Inter tyres are still faster. Godfather, it is a dry track, but for some reason the dry tyres just are not working, and Major Allen heckling that McLaren in towards sector 2. David and Jay, this race might just fall back in place with Jay Undisputed. He's penalty free right now. He might just pull this one out of the hat. He's not going to do that. Not going to do that drifting, and he's going to pit. This is going to be an undercut attempt on David Lawface, who still carries on. We've got 11 laps to do at the Hungaroring, and I think now you're looking surely to dry tyres, as that gap has remained stagnant at around 10 seconds between David and Godfather, who's going to try and get the move done on Sid Sandwich. It does not make it easy for him, does the RB, trying to help his teammate, and Godfather back to second place. Major Allen up in fourth. But I think once the track really has dried out, he's going to have to make his pit stop. Jay Undisputed might just have made the right call to pit now. Because as it is, he might get ahead of David. He will get ahead of Sid and Major Allen, and there's your answer. DRS is enabled, so the track is now dry enough. And that for David, Sid and Major Allen, that's your no-brainer. You've got to make the pit stop now.
Yeah, definitely, but I think Godfather, he's got it in the bag. Unless he doesn't make any mistakes. Reese's Piece is now fastest on the mediums. There we go, 1:25 to the mediums, and now the fastest tyre And we now will see Major Allen, Sid Sandwich and David into the box. Obviously DRS is now enabled as well, but Godfather, he has got a 9-second lead to Leonardo, and he's got around about a 10.5-second lead to Jan Disputed. So it definitely looks like this is Godfather's, provided he doesn't make any mistakes in the last 10 laps. He had a really good stint on the intermediate tyres and really gained a lot of time, especially on Leonardo, and it kind of was, an opportunity given to him a bit on the plate when Reese's Pieces and Jay had that coming together and allowed him through, but he definitely take full advantage of it. David Lolface into the box, Sid Sandwich into the box, and Major Allen all into the box. David comes onto the mediums. Where is he going to come out is the question. Not too far behind is the answer. So not too bad for David. It's looking like it's going to be definitely a good end to the race for him. Yes, he's got a penalty of 3 seconds, but it's looking like he can definitely score some really good points here. Sid Sandwich comes out in P9 and Major Allen in P10. And Leonardo lets his teammate now through of Sheriff Woody. But yeah, Godfather, we can see there now, everyone's on the medium tyres apart from Butterfly at the back. 8.6 seconds is his lead with 9 laps to go.
Just keep it facing forwards. That's all the McLaren's got to do. For Jan Disputed's sake, he's got to keep it facing forwards. And as it is right now, he will take the championship lead by 5 points as we head off to Baku for the second half of the season. But he wants to make that, I should tell a lie, it's not going to quite be 5 points. It could be a potential 11 points as Leonardo rides the curb there around turn 12, gets all out of shape, and that wet weather form he had at the start looks to be fading quite quickly here as the track is dried up. Has Leonardo's race dried up with it? He's still fighting for third. His teammate Sheriff Woody has 6 seconds of penalties. David's got 3, but David can still steal a podium if things go wrong up ahead. Leonardo's just trying to try and use his teammate here as a buffer to try and keep ahead of Jan Disputed and cap off a very successful evening for the Sauber team. Sheriff Woody on the 6 seconds of penalties. His race looks like it's all but over. Godfather's race, he's just got to keep doing what he's doing. 9 seconds ahead. He's controlled his race perfectly, and when it all erupted at the front between Jay and Reese's Pieces, one has came off worse than that, and the other one has came up trumps, and Godfather 8 laps out from his second victory in 4 races, and at one point he was winless in FPRL. He only just debuted last season, and to cap off a very strong season so far, he could yet find himself fighting and clawing back up the standings. And at the halfway point of the season, it's still anyone's game, and with 8 laps left, Major Allen looks like he's going to confirm 10th. It's still anyone's race though, but who's going to end up on the podium?
Well, I'd like to see Leonardo come on the podium, to be honest, and that might be a bit biased to me, but to go for one driver over all the others. But we've seen Jay on the podium, we've seen Sheriff Woody and Godfather on the podium and winning races. We haven't seen Leonardo up there yet, so I really would like to see him hopefully hold on to a podium finish. He's now 1.3 seconds off his teammate, and Jan Disputed will definitely now make the move on him. But I say that, he's not making the move on him there. And then he does make the move with a lovely dive into turn 1. But then, once again, the DRS comes for Leonardo. At the moment, he will overtake his teammate Sheriff Woody, as he's got no penalties at the moment as Leonardo. But David Lolface on those fresher medium tyres behind will definitely be trying and get past the Sauber and try and gain 3 seconds. If we just look quickly at the penalties, actually Sheriff Woody's got 6 seconds of penalties, so really Leonardo just got to try and keep ahead of David Lolface by at least 3 seconds, or you can let him go, but just stay within 3 seconds and he should have a podium. But there is still 7 laps to go, and Godfather just looks like he's really just going away with this. He really looks like he's really strong around here in this main race. He's now almost 11 seconds ahead of the guys behind him.
That's all he's got to do though, is just keep it in a straight line. Leonardo now down in 4th, but will be a potential net 3rd after his teammates' penalties. Godfather is just streaking away. 11 seconds now between himself and this quartet in a fight for third. David wants to try and get ahead of that Sauber. He's going to look down the inside. So is Jay on the outside of the other Sauber. David backs out of the move. Leonardo runs deep at turn 1. David looking to get the better exit. Use the DRS, use the battery, get the slingshot out of turn 1 via the grass. He's going to try and go around the outside. And now he's looking for a cut back around turn 3. Leonardo covers it off. He wants this podium on track. Penalty or not, he wants to cap off a very good evening for himself and get that maiden podium finish in the league, which himself, it was due. Just had bad luck to go with it this season, but it was due, especially after pre-season, as Hirsch lagged lock-up. Still in 7th place, could be on though for a 5th place finish should he get in range of Sheriff Woody, because right now it's around 7.5 seconds between the Ferrari and the Sauber. He is in range of Locker though, is Hirsch, so he will end up 6th. Can he get a top 5? He might just, as we'll look at the positions graphic, up 7 places, so as that, if that remains, he'll be up 9 places in this race. And a day of recoveries for Hirsch, qualified poorly, but it just seems like the race pace, it always comes together for the Ferrari. He just leaves himself too much work to do to try and make the most of it.
Yeah, that's the thing. And as David Loweface now trying to make another move on Leonardo, he's got a bit more straight line speed this time. It all comes down to the brakes. Leonardo goes a bit wide, and David Loweface through. Now into P3. Now what he's got to do, he's got to gain 3 seconds on Leonardo, and he's going to have the podium. But Sheriff Woody will try and help his team out all he can and try and fight back against the Alpine. Jan Disputed has gone off now into the distance. It looks like P2 is definitely going to be his, and it will be a championship lead for Jan Disputed as well. With Reese's Pieces down in 13th position, will not score any points. Josh's left possession will try and get him back in. But yeah, David now has got to try and gain 3 seconds on Leonardo with 5 laps left to go in the race.
And Hirsch is starting to catch up now to Sheriff Woody. Leonardo looks like he will end up 3rd, but if the tyres just hold on, if not, David will be on for his 2nd podium of the season, following on from the opening night in, if I'm right, around Australia. Hirsch though could be on for 5th. He's got to get by Locker though as quick as he can. These two have had their tussles before, and hopefully this time it doesn't end up in tears. Hirsch has already had enough escapades tonight, especially with a certain Red Bull. As now around the final corner, Hirsch will have the DRS against the Mercedes. Further ahead, we're looking to that gap between David and Leonardo. That's around 1.8. David needs to find a second and a bit, as Hirsch is going to find the overtake button. He's going to use it, and he's going to get himself up to 6th. Can he close down Sheriff Woody? Is that gap that I make 5.5 seconds? Hirsch is in range. Can he stay there? There's a safety car. Oh, that's blew everything wide open. And wow. I'm bemused as to what that is. That looks like Butterfly has lost his front wing somewhere. So that explains the safety car. And for Reese's Pieces, it's a final chance at redemption to try and salvage a point or two and limit the damage to Jay. But now what do you do?
Well, I mean, surely... Yeah, I mean, I think... Well, I mean, if you're Leonardo, get on the softs, I would say. Oh, David Loweface got another 3 seconds behind the safety car.
As Godfather stays out. That might have been a bad decision, because you know what Jay's going to do, and I'm actually going to guess my logic here. Jay thinks about it, but stays out. David stays out. Sheriff Woody stays out. Everyone's staying out. So obviously the softs are really that bad around here. As Hirsch is going to think about it, doesn't do it. Locker doesn't do it. Everyone's staying out. And I think unless you're at the back of the field, you've got no reason to, and that is why our Drummers is going to pit. Major Allen's going to stay out and inherit 10th place. The flow is on soft, so is Reese's Pieces, and a Wounded Butterfly, who's going to be a lap down, so that is his race over. As Godfather trying to burn some of that excess fuel he has. But now this is where the real challenge begins. He's going to have the longest 2 laps of his life to hold off a rampant RB. As for that 3rd place spot though, I think Leonardo's got that one covered. Should he hold off Hirsch?
Yeah, this is what I mean. Hirsch is going to be going for it now. He knows if he can get past Leonardo, he will have the podium. So he's really going to try his hardest to try and get past the Sauber. Can't just help thinking Godfather, though. He had an 11-second lead. I'm very surprised he did not come in for a set of soft tyres. He might have thought that Jay would have carried on and maybe would have lost his lead, but with a big advantage. I'm quite surprised. I know it's late in the race, but no one really came in for softs apart from a couple near the back of the field. So we're going to get racing again on lap 34. We're going to go around for lap 33. And then lap 34 we will get racing. So we're going to have 2 laps, one behind one with DRS. So yeah, Leonardo now to this 3rd place. He knows that Sheriff Woody and David Oldface have got 6 seconds of penalties. So just stay within 6 seconds in 2 laps and you're going to have the 3rd place. But like you said, Cruiser, he's got to watch out for Hirsch behind him. And someone that can make this a bit tricky is Butterfly, who is currently in P14, who is in front of Leonardo and in front of his teammate Hirsch as well. We don't really want the lap car to really get involved here in the fight for the podium place.
Well, that's what we hope won't happen, but team politics will reign supreme, I suppose. Not quite as bad as papaya rules around this track, but still, politics will reign supreme. As we have hit the 2-hour mark in our stream, thank you to everyone for tuning in and for watching on this rather scruffy, shall we say, Tier 3 race. Just a massive thank you to sticking with us on your Monday evenings. So you've got better things to do with your time, like watching West Ham versus Newcastle, which was the Premier League game of choice today. Probably for the better, because it was a 1-0 win. Bruno Guimaraes scoring for Newcastle in that, and that's about it. So unless you had any football accumulators on, you probably would have lost. Anyway, lost but won, anyone? The last stand of this Hungarian Grand Prix. What was a quiet, calm, composed ending for Godfather is now going to be 2 laps of hell, because there is an RB. G Undisputed will have the championship lead at the end of tonight, but what will the gap be to the field around him? Sheriff Woody will lose ground in the championship with that 6-second penalty he's going to have at the end. David Lawface, a valiant effort, 6 seconds himself. He's going to lose ground too. Can Leonardo hold on for the podium? Will Godfather hold on for the win? He's got an almighty poor exit there around the final corner, and we're underway for the penultimate time. Godfather just about keeping ahead of G Undisputed. He's going to look for it in towards turn 1. Godfather chooses not to defend the line. G Undisputed immediately makes the move in towards turn 1, gets the elbows out, and G Undisputed from nowhere at one point, he was 11 seconds behind, and with the aid of a safety car, takes the lead with 2 laps to go. Can Godfather respond? And I don't know if he's going to, because Hirsch is now ahead of Leonardo, which is cruel for the Sauber driver. Absolutely cruel.
Yeah, it's really cruel, but to be fair to Hirsch, he's done a good race for himself. He's up 9 positions. He will now go up 11 positions.
Oh, Locker's gone.
And Locker has gone. Pit out down to P12. He falls. He won't get any points now. All the Mercedes made a mistake on the second to last lap, but Jay now has got Godfather all over the back of him. It's down to these two. Who's going to take the win as we approach the final lap of the race, and Godfather now trying to let down the inside before we go into the last lap, but I don't know why you're letting him. I would go for the move, because you're not going to get DRS on this final lap, because it won't come in time, because only DRS is obviously available down the main straight. So now it's Jay versus Godfather for the win. Jay goes a bit wide in the last corner, gets on the acceleration as we go now to lap 35 of 35. The final lap starts, and Jay weaving on the main straight. And now Godfather's surely got to go for the move into this corner here, but doesn't go for it. Doesn't go for the move. And now has to get on the acceleration, does so. Are we going to see him move down potentially into turn 3? And no, we're not. And I think Jay is going to stay ahead. And that was probably the last point on which Godfather could make the move. David Lovelace in P3, Sheriff Woody P4, but Hirsch will climb up to P3 once the penalties are taken its course. Leonardo will probably still take P4, but Godfather now has got to try and do something to get ahead of Jay Undisputed. But I think Jay, with half a lap to go, and Leonardo has got a 3-second penalty. And now I'm not even sure if he'll get P4. But will Godfather get past Jay? I think Jay's got this covered.
Well, that's what you're going to hope for as Godfather gets the launch out of turn 12. He'd had the run of them in the previous lap. He's not going to get him here though. He's got much more battery than Jay. He's so much closer to Jay there. And I don't know if he's going to have enough time. He's going to have to pin it out the final corner. And for Jay Undisputed, it's none other than a gift for the RB driver as Godfather looks to go around the outside at the final corner. This will be a dash to the line. Godfather gets the better exit, but Jay Undisputed gets the better fortune on the day. Cruelty for McLaren, and Jay Undisputed, from at one point 11 seconds behind, takes the victory around the Hungaroring and reclaims the championship lead at the halfway stage of the season. Godfather takes second, and if I'm correct, that is Hirsch on the podium for the first time this season after it being snatched from him by an empty fuel tank around Silverstone. Hirsch back on the podium in FPRL, and Jay Undisputed, doesn't matter how you win as long as you cross the line first.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, it started raining again in the background, as we can see. I don't think Godfather really got the best run he could have done out of the safety car restart, and that is what allowed Jay to go for the move down the inside and take the lead with just one lap remaining. And yeah, fair play to him. He's made the move stick, and Godfather just couldn't get back past it. It was too late for him to have any DRS assistance. He had one more lap, he might have had a run down to turn 1, but it is Jay that takes the win. As we've already seen this season, another victory for him. Godfather is second, but Hirsch does climb up from P14, stayed off the penalties, and does take P3 in a race which would have suited him for the most part in the wet conditions. Leonardo, a respectful race from him as well, up from 8th to P4. David Lowell faced P5, and then Sid Sandwich 6th, the Flow 7th, Sheriff Woody 8th. Major Allen grabs 2 points for Hassan. Reese's Pieces does grab in the end 1 point for Red Bull, but he will lose his championship lead for Jay Undisputed at the halfway stage.
If I'm correct, that is going to be 9 points for Reese's Pieces, and that will be 8 points for Reese's Pieces, 7 points for Reese's Pieces, pardon me, and 32 for Jay Undisputed. And I make that a 18-point gap in the championship in favour of the RB. But certainly cruel, but also who cares for Jay Undisputed. He will not give one jot about that. To take his second win of the season and another championship lead to go with it. And we will try and get word from Hirsch and Godfather, who does actually have an Xbox username, so we will try and get word from him. And of course we know Hirsch is on an Xbox, so we will try and get Godfather in the party. There's Hirsch. Let's see if we can get Godfather. Right, there we go. So let's just see if we can. But for the meantime, there's a Ferrari. Donkey Boy Kart, over to you with our P3 driver for the first time in many a race, for that matter. Hirsch.
It is, yeah. First time we've seen Hirsch back on the podium, obviously, for a while. Well done to obviously Tia. First of all, we'll start with the sprint race and sprint quali. Has to be said, didn't really go your way in the sprint and sprint quali, shall we say. Even the main quali didn't seem to really get the best lap you could have done. Yeah, we'll quickly go over the sprint, I guess. Was there much really to talk about for you in terms of the sprint race?
Well, first of all, it's good to be back. It's been a long time. But yeah, with the sprint race, like the sprint qualifying again was pretty much like like the main qualifying. That was the best lap I could do in that car. But then I kind of got lucky with the first lap in the sprint race. I saw someone pretty much torpedoing everyone into turn one. I'm not sure who that was, but just managed to stay out of it, stay out of trouble, and then unluckily in the sprint race got P9, just a few tenths off. I think it was a few tenths or a few seconds off P8 to get 1 point, but overall I'm pretty happy with the sprint, starting 18th, I think, up to 9th. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely looked obviously a lot stronger in the races, and then like come to a main quali. Quali didn't go as well again, P14. But obviously a wet start to the race. I'm saying in the comms actually. I don't know if you would agree, but I feel like the wet weather would have suited your driving style in terms of getting the exit out of the corners with the traction.
Yeah, well, obviously, I race no traction, so for me, the wet conditions was much preferred by me. I did lower the tire pressures in the rear to about 23 psi, which probably helped as well, getting traction out of the corners. But overall, the race itself was very difficult. I had four broken wings, contact with a lot of people. There was spins trying to avoid crashes and stuff like that. And then I lost a lot of time in the pits. If I didn't get any front wing damage, I think I could have potentially got P2, maybe I maybe not even P1, but maximum P2. I lost about an extra 9 seconds in the pit stops in the main race, so who knows that if that would have changed anything in the end. Still got a podium, so I'm happy.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, a strong end to the race. Obviously, to get on the podium, you had to make that move on Leonardo to get the podium. Obviously, he ended up getting a penalty anyway, but at the time he was also on no penalties like yourself, and you made that obviously on the safety car restart, which is obviously a big reason why you're on the podium. So well done to you. Obviously,
Yep,
next
thank you.
week we are going to be heading into the second half of the season. It's coming back quite quickly, and we also now head to. I'm just going to double check what it is. I should really know this, but I'm just going to bear with me 2 seconds while I have a double check to see what is next. But it is Baku. So how are we feeling about that race?
Baku's fine as long as you don't make contact.
Yeah, we do it yet. Just carry on, Hush.
Yeah, like I was saying now, back is a good. I think for me, it's a good track anyway. I've been in the previous seasons in tier one, tier two, and then now in tier three. I've been very unlucky in a race with contact with other people. But again, it should be a good one as long as you stay out of the walls and don't get any front wing damage. It should be a good race.
Yeah, no, definitely looking forward to it. And hopefully for yourself, you can obviously gain once again on the podium, maybe a P2 or a P1 there. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But no, congratulations on the podium.
Thank you.
And I will hand over to Cruiser to interview our P2 man.
Yeah, from Scotsman to Scotsman, Hush, congratulations, and good job.
Cheers.
We'll head over to the McLaren now, and for the first time in the lead, we get to hear from our Silverstone race winner this season, and the man who had this race in the palm of his hands, but Butterfingers and luck said no. Godfather. Just so unfortunate, mate. So unfortunate. Oh, have you included your audio? Should be a little. God's sakes. If you can give your answer, I can relay it, so it'll be alright. Godfather saying there that just unlucky at the end with the restart, should have defended better, and the switch to the dry tyres, he had enough of a gap in hand. And in a way, kind of forced because the tyres were shot. But on to next week around Baku, it's a bit of a survival mission around there. But obviously, you've got a bit of form now in the lead, so obviously you'll hope to keep that run going. Uh, Godfather saying there, it's a bit hot and cold this season. He has a good race like tonight, then a poor one. Hopefully that run ends at Baku and gets a bit of consistency, and has a bit of confidence next week. But of course, we'll see how that goes. So although we couldn't hear from the stream, Godfather, congratulations on your P2. Yeah, hopefully PC or Xbox doesn't play silly buggers, but regardless, nice work for tonight and your P2. We'll get the RB in stream for Jay Undisputed, who's just typing his answer on stream. Not on stream, pardon me, through our Discord server. And in the meantime, we'll mute this lobby music. And at 2 hours and 21 minutes, Monkey Boy Kurt, the time has arrived for a driver of the day. So, who's it going to be?
Well, for the sprint, you have to say Wizard of Oz. But we don't really give drivers of the day for the sprint. We obviously give it for the main race. And I'm hoping, I'm going to be a bit biased here, but I was hoping for Leonardo to get his first podium. It would have been good to see him with his first podium, but obviously in the end that didn't happen. And one driver did rise up from P14 on the grid to get on the podium for the first time in a while. So I am today going to give it to Hirsch, his driver of the day.
Thank you, Mitch. Cheers. Yep.
There we go.
Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah, but I may have a quick shout out to David Lawface. He gave himself a chance in the race, and Leonardo again. That's the best race he's driven in the lead. Just wasn't meant to be the night for himself or Godfather. But while Jay types his answer in Discord, we will end on that. Thank you everyone for tuning in and for watching this marathon stream on Monday. We will be back on Wednesday for our Tier 2 race, accompanied with a certain, who shall it be? I believe a certain FPRL locker who you've seen on track tonight will be in the commentary box, along with Crossbury. So that's an interesting lineup there. And then Tier 1, it had to be, didn't it? Silverside Boy and David Lawface will take you through the Tier 1 race on Friday, 8 PM UK time. Be sure to tune in on Wednesday, the 12th of March for our Tier 2s and the 14th of March for our Tier 1s. And in that time, Jay has got his response in through Discord. He's got his thesaurus at the ready. And I'll sum it up saying, where do I begin? Sprint Crawley went expected being around the top. Didn't expect Wizard of Oz to set a 1:39. I don't think we all did. And sprint race was a bit of a roller coaster. Butchered the start, but fought back from the hards. As for the actual qualifying, surprised but pleased to get pole. As for the race, in bold, absolute cinema, which to be fair it was. It was a bit of a slow burner, but goodness me, it exploded with about 5 laps to go. Good start, however, the rears were being torn up the way I was sliding around. From there, suffered and dropped back through the field, pity for New Winters, and kept a respectable position. It was touch and go, seeing people go to dry but be slow. Timed it and was able to fly past the Salvers. Got into a satisfactory P2. Safety car was a heavenly gift, and truly had to take the opportunity from Godfather, who deserved that win. Humble, I think, yeah, from Jay Undisputed, admitting he wasn't quite there in the race, but in the championship fight, you've got to take those. And to sum it up once more, absolute cinema. Indeed, Tier 3, only you can do it on a Monday. I will see you on track on Wednesday before Monkey Boy Kurt sees you on track, hopefully on Friday. Lockhart and Crossley will be your hosts on the Wednesday, but for now, after nearly 2.5 hours on this Monday evening, we are finished with our Tier 3 Hungarian Grand Prix Thank you everyone for tuning in and for watching. Be sure to follow our social media platforms at X, formerly Twitter, at FairPlayRL, our Instagram, Fairplay_Racing Lead, our YouTube, Fairplay Racing Lead, all in lowercase, and our Twitch, twitch.tv/FP or Racing Lead. You can't miss us on social media. All of our platforms have the same profile picture, the same name. You know what to do. Support the brand, and maybe, just maybe, we may have a few more names popping up across the grid towards season's end. If you want to join the list of drivers, type !F1 in our Discord server, in our Twitch chat to get a link to our Discord server. Complete the sign up steps, and we'll get you down and get your name in the hat for season 10 the second part of season 10. And our Discord server, our link is through all of our social media, so you can't miss it. You do not want to miss Wednesday and Friday. The championship fights are really hotting up as we approach halfway. And while we conclude tonight, Monkey Boy Kurt, thank you for sticking with us on this marathon session.
Yeah, no worries, mate. It's definitely been the longest one I've ever took part in, but yeah, it's been interesting to watch. It's been a good race to watch tonight. So hopefully more of the same for the rest of the week around the Hungary ring.
Just you wait till Singapore. If that track's pulling me around, good luck, we're hitting 3 hours. But that's been Monkey Boy Kurt.
Yeah, cheers everyone. Thanks.
And this has been Cruiser 1872. Thank you very much, and for watching. I'm away for a lie down and probably some lemon tea after this because my throat is going to be shot in the morning. But thank you all very much, and for watching, and from all of us here at FPRL, good night.